without fear of being judged, without fear of all the world rejecting me. Yeah, I'm taking this round. No, my words will not fall down. I can see my future breaking
2,
through
1.
these clouds.
What's up, everybody? We are live.
Just cut the song off.
Gotta cut this. Man, we can't let music play forever. They gotta go get that. Go get that. Go stream that right now. That's Who Am I, the live version from our live EP, the live sessions. You can go get that right now. You can stream it. You can get it downloaded on iTunes, all that good stuff. But in the meantime, we're gonna talk some shit. We got all the dudes, the whole team. This reminds me, all the dudes. This reminds me of like when we used to get out of the gym at 3 a.m. and then we would stay in the parking lot talking till like
4
5.
or 5. And then go to Denny's.
Yeah. I don't hear James's mic. I think you got to unmute him over there.
Some moons over Miami.
Yeah,
Moon's over my hand. Yeah.
All right. What's up, everybody? It's Young Lion TV. Let's go.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, won't you get up and stop fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding.
Yep. That's right. It's Tuesday night, and we are live. We're at True Sound Studios in Camden, New Jersey. I got all the brothers with me tonight. The original Young Lions all in the house. I want to say what's up to everybody in the chat. Ariana, Kenzie, Laura, my mom's in there, a bunch of other people. Make sure you guys, hey, what's up?
He's watching.
That means Liz is watching. Everybody that's in the chat, please share the video. Give it some thumbs up. Just hit the share button real quick. You don't even have to write nothing. Just share it so it shows up in your feed. That helps us out with the algorithm. And people know that we're streaming, and then it'll send it to more people. Also, if you're on YouTube right now, you can subscribe, like, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Make sure you go to patreon.com and become a Young Lion. You can subscribe and be a member right there. But yeah, let's get into it. Anything else I forgot? I want to shout out to everybody who's with me. You see the brother right next to me going through his phone right now. He's back for what's this, your third time?
I think so. 3.
Yep.
Yeah, 3.
Mr. Stan Golden's in the building. 2. My brother Jake is in the building. We got Moon in the building. We got the half black, half Indian in the building. James Garcia.
I have the coolest intro, you know. Nobody has nothing. You know? In this corner.
I pointed out because you know why I always point it out? Because it shows the difference in culture. Because in America, blacks and Indians don't mix. But in Trinidad, it's a different thing. You know what I mean?
They look at each other like, I hate you, but I like you.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Right. In this country, if a Indian, like your mom was Indian, your dad's black, if that happened,
disowned
in a second. And of course, we got Miss Rachel Rota on the ones and twos with the double laptops right now, rocking all the production stuff. Yo, you want some of this? Stan brought a nice single malt scotch.
I'll try it.
You want some? Yeah. There's a glass for you right there.
What happened to you trying to...
Well, I didn't know it was all of that.
Wait, him trying to what?
He was like, I'm trying to watch my...
There's no calories in this. There's no calories in that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try.
You
just don't mix it with Coke.
Yeah.
I'll try a little bit.
You
Why
just
not?
get
neat.
I think there is some calories in that.
My mom is like obsessed with the fire emoji right now. Have you noticed that? Like,
everything is fire.
My mom puts a fire, a heart, and a fire.
Oh, that's good, Stan.
That's the 15-year.
Oh.
My mom puts a fire, a heart, and a fire
That's
emoji. John just checked in. What's up, John?
What up, John?
We got to come on. John just moved back to Jersey.
Let's have John on.
He's got to come on and be on the podcast one day. So how was everybody's weekend?
It was cool.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
It's good.
Anybody do anything interesting?
Nope.
No. You catch the XFL?
I did
little
not.
bit, yeah.
I watched.
I heard it was.
You didn't watch it?
I didn't
Yeah,
watch.
I was surprised at that.
I didn't. I really did.
You don't like it. You're an NFL guy all the way.
You feel like it's well, to be fair, the XFL kind of let us down once already, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's because they try to WWE it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
At first.
Yeah.
I think they tried to be more of a legit football organization this time.
This time, yeah.
I heard a lot of good things.
I heard tweets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It didn't
I saw-
look as jokey as
Right,
it did.
right.
No,
Gimmicky,
no, no.
right.
Gimmicky.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to watch it, actually.
Yeah.
Now, as football fans, do you guys think it has a chance?
Yeah.
I think now.
I think
yeah.
it does because they're smart about the timing of it. Right after football season ends, you can keep watching football.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think they're being smart about where they're changing it, like rule-wise. Like, did you see the
Rule-wise, yeah.
kickoff thing?
No, I didn't see.
I watched some clips about it. I don't know, maybe Rachel can find it, but they changed the way they do the kickoff. So the kickoff happens at the same place, but the receiving team and the kicking team are literally like 5 yards from each other.
Okay.
So they're lined up 5 yards from each other. The kicker's all the way back, and the receiver's all the way back. Neither one of the teams can move until the receiver catches the ball.
Huh.
So it takes away all of the slamming into each
Right.
other
Right.
aspect of the kickoff. It keeps the kickoff there, but
And
makes it way
makes it
more
safe.
safer. Yeah.
Huh.
Which is fair.
Yeah, yeah, it was a better approach than
Yeah.
what didn't last time they do something where like it was like the ball was in the middle, you run out and get it like dodgeball or some shit. It's like something
Did they
else.
do that?
I think they
The
did that last
XFL?
time. Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't-
It
Well,
might
a
have-
legit guy, Andrew Luck's dad is running the program.
right.
So he's like, is it NCAA or one of those programs? Something pertaining to sports. So he really kind of like broke down the rules and and he actually asked the players like, "What do you guys want to see change?" But what I was surprised at is the amount of talent they're getting because there's a lot of guys that's cut.
I was just going to
Yeah.
say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about the amount of guys that even on the Eagles that were on the practice squad that ended up being viable players.
Right,
Like,
right,
Yeah.
right.
So a lot of these guys don't get a chance just because you can only put 52 guys on the roster.
Right.
So here you go. This is the kickoff right here. So you see they're all lined up 5 yards away, and then they can't move until he catches the ball.
That's
So
kind of
So
cool.
is there like
Yeah.
a offsides type thing if they move too early?
probably,
Probably,
I would
Yeah.
imagine so.
Yeah, that's cool.
And they
Yeah.
also changed the there's no extra points like kicking extra points.
Yeah.
There's a 1 point conversion, a 2 point conversion, and a 3 point conversion.
Okay,
What's
yeah.
it-
So I
what's
had
it-
that wrong. I was
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to tell you.
yeah.
What was the 3?
So it's like each time you move back 5 yards, I think.
If
So
you have the option too.
the 1 point conversion from the 2 yard line.
So it's just a regular play.
Yeah, one play, get in the end zone,
Oh,
but
okay.
it creates another dynamic because if you need 3 points, you can
Yeah, that's cool.
you can take that shot, or if you just want to run, if you want
See,
to.
that's making me want to watch it now.
Yeah, it looks and when I was watching the gameplay,
Yeah.
it was
was good.
pretty
It's pretty legit.
good.
They
man.
got some players, man, like Cardell Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't really get a chance to play like that.
Yeah.
But he was
Now
a
he
good
can
player
get
in
his reps
college.
in.
Yeah.
And they legitimize the teams. The names look good. The
Yeah.
logos look good.
Yeah.
It's not what it
It's
was.
not gimmicky.
Right.
No,
Right.
it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the XFL. They interviewed people like it was wrestling.
Yeah, they did.
And it was
Well, they kept some of that in there, which
Yeah.
could be good or bad. It's like it was kind of like
Yeah.
interesting to see, like if someone messes up or drops a pass,
Yeah,
they go
brother.
right. They go
Right
no,
to him.
they go right
They
to
go
him, and they're
right
like,
to
"What
him.
happened there on that play?" You know what I
Really?
mean? Yeah. So a couple of dudes were like pissed,
Damn.
answering questions like they got.
Right. They're gonna cut that out.
Yeah, I think so. But
As it goes.
it could work either way. But
Mo,
yeah,
you got to give us your take, man.
I was
the
expecting you
hardcore-
to have
Yeah,
watched
I
every
did it.
He
game.
needs to watch it. man.
Yeah, I
See, I
did.
like it. I like the kickoff thing because it puts you man on man,
Right.
5 yards apart. Now
Right.
You got to get by your man.
Yeah, and if you can
Outmuscle him, you got it.
and then it gives a chance for more kickoff returns. If
Yeah.
someone can make a lane for you,
right.
Yeah,
And you're not getting hit looking up.
right,
Or as soon as you-
exactly.
One guy running full speed, and
Yeah.
you're just running into a train.
So you were saying they sat down with like ex players. They sat down with Andrew Luck's dad, and they tried to really find out where would you like to improve the game. What
Yeah.
are some of the things you would want
Yeah.
to change?
And they also kind of got rid of the commercial. They were saying that they're not going to have as much commercial.
That's the other thing. The game goes by faster. It's more action. There's less commercials. There's less downtime.
So
Right.
you don't realize it when you're watching it, especially when you're watching at home.
Yeah.
Like it's going to commercial,
Or a lot.
and the players. If you're watching it in the stadium,
Yeah.
they're just standing around
Right.
the whole commercial.
Yeah, and then the other element they introduced was whenever there's a play that's I guess like a question or they have to review it, the camera actually goes into the studio and you see the guy reviewing it. You know, the person who's reviewing, and he's calling the play to the ref. So he hears it like in real time.
Okay.
You know, so they stop it, they review it. He's telling nope.
One of the things we said they should do in the NFL, you know what I
Right.
mean, is it was not hard to implement that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Like, for instance, like, did you guys know that the original XFL, they're the one that introduced the zip line, the camera?
Yeah.
They were the ones so the NFL took that from them. So they're saying that a lot of these, it depends on how long this goes. If this persists and people are actually starting to, you know,
If the
like
ratings
it,
keep
the
going
ratings
up,
keep going-
yeah.
you're going to see a lot of those rules kind of, because there's no way the XFL is ever going to take down the NFL.
Right.
I mean, it's too huge.
Yeah,
You
Vince
know. Well,
McMahon, they'll kill they'll kill him before they
He
let
Epstein
that
himself.
happen.
He died
Yeah.
while eating oatmeal. That's like that
Well, you
guy.
never know, man. Like maybe I don't know. You never know.
They
Maybe
need
it
some
changed.
Because
competition.
they
man.
used to talk trash about the AFC. It used to be the NFL and
AFL.
the
But they
AFL.
merged, though.
Yeah, and then they merged.
Yeah.
Right.
They wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't. Cause,
But when you
oh,
think about it, like
They are
that's what
ex-players,
what makes soccer so competitive, especially in other countries. There's multiple leagues,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so you really have to try to get the best talent,
That's
you
true.
know, and it makes more competition, and then you know which game people want to watch more. So it keeps you competitive. It doesn't allow you to just be complacent.
I mean, they could do it like they do it like with the different levels.
Yeah, they could do that too. They could. I mean, that's kind of what Arena was,
Yeah.
but Arena
Yeah,
fell
right.
flat.
Arenas. I don't know. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I tried.
Arena
to.
was a whole different thing, though.
Yeah,
you know.
50 yards.
yeah.
Yeah, that was whack. And Kyle said continuous clock too in the XFL as opposed to.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's
so
no
the clock
stoppage
doesn't.
time.
It's like soccer then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, man. Because there's too much waiting. Like football games can last like 4 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like
Leslie was like, "You ready?" Like when we were watching Super Bowl, you ready to go? Because we went over her friend's house,
yeah.
and I was like, "It's only 5 minutes left."
That,
Me knowing
that
she
5
doesn't
minutes.
know.
That 5 minutes is gonna take a whole half hour, especially the last 5 minutes.
later.
It was just funny because she was like, "Wow, this is a long 5 minutes."
He's like, I didn't make babe. Look at the clock right there. See that?
Yeah. I was very skeptical, but I heard good things, so I'm gonna check it out next week.
Yeah.
At least one game or two.
Yeah.
See how it is. Does it only air on Sundays?
I think so.
No, they had they had games.
No,
on
Saturdays too.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday and
No.
Sunday?
So
Okay.
Sundays, yeah.
That's cool. That's a good idea too. Games on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
like
want
the
to watch
Super Bowl.
football.
So how many teams they
Moved
got?
the Super Bowl.
I don't even
I
know.
think they got
Nothing.
8.
8 teams?
8 or 12, I think so. It's pretty much all the major cities, so
Yeah.
there's no chance of them absorbing into the NFL because they already have a team in that city. Like they wouldn't, you know. So it's just I think all the major cities have one.
Yeah.
Not Philadelphia.
No, yeah, that's true. Philadelphia don't have one. I guess they wouldn't. Mind.
Philadelphia's a crap city, I guess. We're not major enough. What about the Oscars? Anybody get a chance to watch the biggest night of the year for Hollywood?
I didn't. I'm like, I feel like I'm over award shows.
Guess what?
Overpowered
No one
everything.
watched it because
The
it was
ratings
the
were-
lowest rating.
Yeah. Well, they don't have a host, right?
They tried the no host thing. It was
again.
weird.
Yeah.
You know, they had Steve Martin and Chris Rock come out
And do a
to
couple
do
of-
like a couple jokes
Yeah.
in the beginning, which that was actually one of the moments that I noticed was Chris Rock made a joke about the homeless population. And like Steve Martin cuts him off, like whoa, 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 you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It was like a deliberate, like they were both trying to bring light to that, like
Yeah.
you know, all you people are here and you're $100,000
Yeah,
dresses,
yeah, yeah.
and there's this on your way to the venue, there's tons of homeless people, and then Steve Martin's like, "Wait, what about all the celebrities here? Let's talk about that." You know what I mean?
It was you're saying it was part of the shtick.
It was part of the shtick, but it was
Okay.
also like, we don't talk about that. You know what I mean? Like, it was
Wow.
also like, we lecture everyone about what they need to do, but,
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about,
Exactly.
It's to go get a job, grouch.
So now it's like everybody's taking jabs at the celebrities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yo, and then the bags. What are those?
Oh man,
Those bags they get?
they're like
Oh, the swag
$900
bags?
a pop
Yeah,
or something
the
like
swag
that.
bags.
No,
Swag bag.
they're like $250,000 bags.
Damn.
Like the stuff that's in
the hell do
inside.
they have
Yeah,
in
there? I know.
It's crazy.
I know.
I've seen.
Get these
I saw
sponsors,
some
man.
clips, man. I
Oh,
just.
Kyle knows all the details. He said there's 8 teams and 2 games were played on
Yeah,
Saturday,
Kyle.
2 on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kyle, you want to come on the podcast?
Yeah, we don't need Moan anymore.
This guy's supposed to come. He
Are you
always says
Asian?
he wants to come. No, he's another black.
What were you saying though?
No, I was just saying about the Oscars. I saw some clips.
Yeah.
Because I watch certain people,
Yeah.
and it's like their moment to just talk about how they feel. I don't know. It's
Yeah. No, it's definitely like you.
Well, it's been like that for at least I would say for the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
They get
It
45
became
seconds
like
and
that.
they just say
Yeah.
stupid dumb shit.
Brad
Pitt talking about the
with his-
impeachment.
Brad Pitt was dumb as line. Was like, they told me I only got 45 seconds to talk, which is more than they gave. What was his name?
Yeah, trial.
The
Senate trial, right?
Forgot his name.
That's
No.
how pointless it was.
No, the dude from the dude that they were, the dude that was like in the
Epstein?
no,
No.
damn it,
Talking about
That was
the
in the
impeachment.
Michael Bolton.
Oh, Bolton.
Not Michael Bolton, John Bolton. Michael Bolton. Michael Bolton.
Said I loved you, but I lied.
Yeah, John Bolton. So,
Yeah.
but then like he doesn't. It's like, dude, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like the Democrats are the ones that didn't want him to testify. They didn't want any witnesses to come forward.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to have to present. They didn't want to let the Republicans.
This magical evidence.
You
It's
know,
just
they didn't
like,
want to
yo.
have an actual fair trial.
It's like, yo, y'all are so retarded.
But I say let them say it though.
Yeah.
I'm in the camp of like, go ahead, dig a hole.
Yeah.
Be as ridiculous as you want to be, because
Yeah.
people. I think people are starting to see through the phoniness.
Yeah.
That's why the ratings are that low.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
no one wants to hear that shit.
Yep.
It's like, first of all, we don't want to watch y'all go up there and give all these awards to movies we've never seen. Parasite got all these awards, that Korean movie.
Yeah.
Right.
I
You
never
know.
even heard of that.
Yeah. It's like you're right. A lot of the stuff that wins, no one saw that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Or it's like the worst. Remember when, what was that fish movie that was winning every Oscar? That
Big
one?
Fish.
Yeah.
No,
the bestiality
no.
movie.
No, the movie about, the fish that becomes humanoid or something, and
Yes.
the woman sleeps with the fish.
Yeah,
Yes.
a little
I've
bestiality. Nothing to see
I don't
here.
even know what that is.
Yeah.
Exactly, but it was like getting all these awards because
Just a lady boinking a dolphin?
checked all these boxes.
Oh, you talking about
The Shape of Water.
Shape
Shape
of
of
Water.
Water.
Yes.
Thank you. You're here. You know, between him not knowing about the XFL and us
Yeah.
not knowing what we're talking about,
You know what's-
you're here,
Literally
the same.
Googled "woman sleeps with fish."
and there it is.
You know what's funny is Moan's wife forced him to go watch that movie. He still didn't remember what it was about.
He slept. He treated
It was-
it like he
it was
treated
really weird.
XFL.
Kyle's on everything. Kyle posted Shape of Water too. So we just need to start asking him everything.
Yeah.
Kyle, can you come here?
Yeah. You want to take my place?
He said he's on.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of like.
It's
I
been
saw
exposed.
some clips of like
Yeah.
some really stupid, cringy moments. from the
Joaquin
Oscars.
Phoenix
Why-
talking about cows.
Talking about cows and baby cows being taken from their mothers so we can have milk in our coffee and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, bro, I get it.
It's. Do you think it's going to? If it continues like this, do you think it's going to last? Like award shows in general are just ridiculous. I don't think they when we were younger in the '90s, MTV and all the, it was an epic thing. But now I feel like they're kind of useless now.
Yeah.
They're not getting the ratings
It's
that they
watered
used
down
to.
Yeah.
anymore.
I
You
feel
know?
like the bubble has burst. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I
Maybe you
feel
need to
like-
throw some gain on your mic.
Okay, but like it used to be like old timey and like movie stars and like this thing that you watched and like they were part of this elite world that you could never be a part of. But there was also like Hollywood and glamour and like everyone wasn't like obviously crazy
Yeah.
all
Right,
the
right,
time.
right.
So
They were still crazy. You just didn't
just
know.
You
like
didn't
not
know.
out
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
open
And there
as
was true
much.
style. There was
no
style.
internet.
Yeah.
You know, like it was a different. And now it's like the bubble
Right.
is burst. Like,
Someone
what are y'all doing?
Someone was showing a clip of like the 1960s when Elvis was in his prime, and like how someone interviewed him. It was like the late 60s, early 70s when there was a lot going on politically, and they asked him. He was like, "Look, man, I just make music and make movies. Like I don't want to give my opinions on that stuff. You know what I mean?" And nowadays it's like
Travis Scott.
but nowadays it's like movie stars feel like they need to lecture everyone.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It's like your opinion matter. Like, no, your opinion.
But I think they should. I think let them say it because they sound stupid. Well, it's the sales and the wealth and
Yeah.
stuff. And you like my outfit?
yeah,
Let them go for
right.
it. You know
It's
what I
like
mean?
Natalie.
Like my outfit.
You know what's funny? Natalie Portman wore like this.
I
she
saw
wore
that.
like this shawl or whatever, this cape that had the names embroidered of all of the female directors
Sure.
that got snubbed at
Yeah,
the.
go for it.
It's like a $50,000 dress, and you got some names put on the cape that's supposed to be your pros. And then so someone went through her IMDb and was like, "How many female directors have you worked for?"
That's what I'm saying, though.
But check this out. It turns out she worked for one female director, herself, when she directed her own movie.
Me.
Every other movie she was in was directed by a man. So it's like,
But that's my point. I feel like I have a chance to sit back and realize that, you know what? Why am I? No, this is good.
Yeah.
Let them go for it. Let
Right.
them speak. Let them expose themselves for who they are and
Right.
the ridiculousness of what they're thinking. Because it makes no sense. They know it don't make no sense. You know?
I don't think they
Do
do.
they?
I think they're.
do,
I think
man.
they're so narcissistic
Yeah.
at this point, and they're so caught up in their own like.
Yeah, that's
Think
what I was
about-
gonna say.
Someone like Joaquin Phoenix grew up so privileged. Like he comes from a Hollywood elite family.
Mm-hmm.
So like you think about the turmoil of knowing that you're like you live this life where you're just so rich. Yeah, there's the dress right there, and like you have to make sense of all of that
Right,
for
right.
everyone.
I thought it was so different.
So
Like
did I.
big ass names.
No, it's you could barely see it. It was like
right.
you know. It,
I care so much. You're gonna have to get a magnifying glass to see
I
this.
thought it was like how they spray the names. and stuff.
Yeah. No. But yeah, like this is how they make sense. Like someone like Patricia Arquette is always getting up there. Again, comes from a Hollywood elite family.
Right.
Private jets her whole life. You know what I mean? It's like always all the doors are open for you.
Yeah.
But somehow you're oppressed. And we're supposed to believe that
Right.
you're a victim of something.
You're not just a bitter celebrity who really can't act that never got a job. You're
Right,
just
right.
sure. We believe
And you want to tell us about how we're wasting water while you're all the Mexicans that work for you are just running water through your lawn every day. You know what I mean?
I need those planes. I have to save everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
I need the private
Right.
jets to bring
I'm
Jesus.
providing oxygen. Yeah, yeah. It's so
Right.
hypocritical.
Right.
People are especially after the Gervais thing. Like people are just like
well, he nailed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knows the deal.
yeah.
You know, and that's what it is. I think, like I said, you and I talked about this before. I feel like we have been so long taught to like look at that and be like, oh my god, it. But I think if we change it and say like, you know what, no. Have at it.
Yeah.
That's what God says. Give
Yeah.
up to a reprobate mind.
Right.
Go for it.
Yeah.
You want it? Have at it. And
Right.
deal with the outcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hilarious. And even the Joaquin Phoenix thing, it's like you want to lecture us about baby cows and
Right.
separating them from their mother,
Right.
but then at the same time you want to applaud the woman who's talking about how she sacrificed her baby so she could be a star.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And we're supposed to make sense of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, care about the animals, but
Screw that baby.
Human babies,
exactly.
human babies are not important to us at all. They're just obstacles in
Right.
our way.
By the way, who here has penis facial cream?
Yo,
Yo, his outfit for Gladiator, one of the biggest movies that he's in, he's wearing leather.
Yeah.
Right?
right?
Comes from cows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when
I mean, it's so easy to take. You know, it's
He was
just
younger
you
than
could
Smollett.
Right.
pick
Yeah.
that apart. But speaking of the animal thing, yo, I saw this documentary on Netflix Did you guys ever hear of it's called Don't Fuck with Cats?
Yes.
No, I've
Have
never-
you seen it?
I watched almost all of it.
Yo, this is a crazy documentary.
Now let me ask you a question before you go on. How the hell did you land on?
I actually heard someone talking about it on something, making fun of I forget. It was on one of the podcasts that I watch,
Okay.
and they were talking about the documentary, and it sounded interesting. So it came up, like, you know how Netflix will suggest stuff.
Yeah.
And it came up, and I was like, all right, let me check out. It's a couple episodes. So I checked out the first one, and I was like hooked. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
So it's a series.
it's not a series. It's just like it's like a documentary, but broken up into episodes.
Okay.
So kind of like how Wild Country was,
Right.
but it's just one long documentary broken up. Same thing, Aaron Hernandez thing. You know,
Yeah.
that's how they're doing it now for some reason. Give people the feeling of binge watching, even though it's just
Yeah, they do a
6
great
hours.
job editing.
Yeah,
They do.
It's like trick you into binge watching a 6-hour long documentary. That's
Right.
what it is.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, this is about some dude who like was so narcissistic. Like picture the dude Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, right? That type of here it is right here. Yeah. So picture the dude Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, right? Like that type of demeanor and build, but narcissistic and like wanting to be an actor and model his whole life because he's obsessed with films. He watched films. He got bullied his whole life, and so he starts doing these videos online where he would like torture and kill cats, like weird videos. Like, so the first video he does is just it just shows up like they didn't show the whole thing, but they describe it as the documentary is going on. So the first video that he does is he has 2 kittens in his hands, like he's playing with 2 kittens, and you just see him like put him in this plastic bag, and then he closes the bag, and then it's a vacuum seal bag, and he hooks the vacuum up to it, and then basically suffocates the cats, and he does it live on the camera, right?
So he's showing it.
He shows it, yeah.
But
He
but he
it.
doesn't show like his face. Or
He doesn't
anything?
show his face.
okay.
Yeah, he has like a hood on, and you can barely see his face. You can see him sort of,
Yeah.
but he doesn't show much. So, but the point of me bringing this up is that like this entire online community emerges of people obsessed with trying to find out who this guy is and bring him to justice. Like, I'm talking about people dedicated 18 hours a day
around the
world to like scanning through the video, finding out, oh, there's a pack of cigarettes there. Where did that come from? And they would do the
Right.
research, like
Detective.
You can only get this
detectives,
in
bro.
Russia.
And the whole time I'm watching this documentary, I'm like, yo, they can't even solve people murders this well.
Yeah.
Right.
And they like tracked this dude down and found him. You know what I mean?
They found him?
Oh yeah, they find him. Yeah, they find him. The dude was crazy as hell. Crazy as hell.
Where the hell is he from?
Canada.
Canadians.
Canada, yeah. But he was like some weirdo, like I said, abused kid,
Yeah.
that wanted
Did they-
to be
what did they do
wanted
to
to be
him?
famous. He went to jail.
He went to jail. Okay.
Yeah. I think he got life in prison because he ended up escalating and killing a person.
Oh wow.
Like he
Yeah, he did that
started
to a
out.
girl, right?
No, it was a gay Asian dude from
What?
China. Yeah, he killed the because he was gay. He was gay too. Like he was bisexual. So he was into like
This is like some.
he was into like
Weird
being
movie.
a model and an actor. But in the meantime, he was doing like escort work.
It's like some Silence of the Lambs
Dude, it
type
was.
stuff.
I think he was literally trying to live out films in his life. Like that was. He was obsessed with movies. So like even the way when he killed the Chinese dude, the way he did the scene and he filmed it, put it online.
Is this the thing where the guy cannibalized somebody?
No,
Not that one. Okay.
he but he did it in the same. He did it in the
Thinking of Jeffrey
same.
Dahmer.
No, there was another guy who did that.
Yeah.
He cannibalized a lover or something like that. Not Jeffrey Dahmer.
No, this dude like he did the scene as if it was the Basic Instinct scene,
Oh,
the first scene when
right,
Sharon
right.
Stone kills the dude while she's having sex with him. So he does like the same motions and everything. And then when they showed the interrogation video and like he he basically does the same stuff as the interrogation video from her when she got interrogated, like crossing his legs, asking for a cigarette. Like he did everything. He was like obsessed in his own head with being a star.
Wow.
Wow.
But he was crazy. You know what I mean? He was crazy, and he was like so narcissistic that he turned it into this. He was getting a thrill out of having them try to figure out who he was. You know what I mean? So he would send them little breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
He would put breadcrumbs in the videos that he was, because he made multiple videos. He killed like a few animals, and he ended up escalating to killing one person, and that's when the FBI got involved, and like, you know, that's when like it really got serious for him. But they
Where
used
would he put these videos up at?
on the internet. They look like they didn't say like no. I think they were just YouTube links.
What?
Yeah, because
So they're
That
tracking
dude
down if you say some bull.
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
But they him. Oh, they're
Yeah.
killing.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
That's
So, like,
freedom.
killing cats, we don't have enough negative reports about this video to take it down yet.
That's
But
freedom.
the funny thing about the documentary was like, it's not, you know, don't be crazy and kill people online. It's the title is called "Don't Fuck with Cats" because in the beginning, the first lady who like was one of the heads of the Facebook group that got him that got put together, and like she was one of the main investigators. Her whole thing was like, there's one unwritten rule on the internet, and you don't. Yeah, this lady right here, you don't fuck with cats. Like you don't mess with cats. Everyone loves cats.
The internet is boundless.
Is this a trailer?
There's the happy places, and then there's another part of the internet, the seedy underbelly. I was on Facebook one day.
And I found this video. I pressed play.
One boy, two kids.
It was the worst video I've ever seen.
He needs to be stopped immediately.
People went nuts. So we started looking.
Yeah.
Keep playing it. I don't want you to get.
Yeah, I know that was good enough, but you get the idea. So,
Yeah.
but the funny thing about the whole time, I couldn't stop thinking like, yo, people would do all of that because of some kittens, but all of the murders that happen,
Yeah.
all of the evil shit that they see online, like if they would have just saw the dude getting killed first, they probably would have been like, oh, that's disgusting, and just went about their day.
right.
You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't have went into all that, but it was because it was two kittens
Right.
that they went nuts and were
Right.
obsessed with it, you know, to the point where like,
I mean, they're so cute.
yeah, who cares about those 8 Chinese immigrants? You know what I mean?
I think it's because we'd been desensitized to murder, humans being killed.
Yo, that's true. Kyle said it sounds like that 8mm movie. You guys ever see that, the Nicolas Cage movie?
Long time ago.
You never saw that movie?
I don't.
It was a whole movie about like the snuff film industry and how like they had found this one movie, this video of someone being killed, and there was politicians involved. It was crazy, but it was a good movie. But it was weird as heck. That scene where he's like fighting the dude at the end with the mask on. You know, the dude and the heavy metal music playing all loud in the house from the record player. Yeah, that was crazy.
Man, that's crazy.
No
thanks.
Watch the YouTube clips of the award shows. The live experience is not what it used to be. Yeah, I mean, though, getting back to the award show thing.
A little tangent.
Yeah, just because I was thinking about animals, like how people go on these
They love animals,
tirades
man.
about animals, but
But
don't
they
give a
can't
shit
follow
about
it.
humans.
Yeah.
Don't give a shit about humans.
They still can't find that little girl from Vineland, right? Or Bridgeton.
Yeah. Yeah. And they ain't looking. They ain't looking like that.
Yeah.
They ain't online
Gotta be some
scouring all
cats.
the evidence.
Right. Well, part of it too, with as far as the award shows, is during the late '90s, early 2000s, it was all these shows, the pre-show, the dress show.
Yeah.
It became too much. It just wasn't about the event. In the '80s, early '90s, it was just tune in for the Oscars.
Right.
But then Joan Rivers started.
Critiquing all the dresses,
and it
and
got
then
rating.
that became more important than the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, it's
I
just-
know a lot of women that would say like, "Oh, I just watched the
Yeah,
to
you
see
watch
the dresses."
Yeah,
Yeah.
And everyone has one now. YouTubers have one. It's the same thing like with the NFL, like with the Super Bowl. You know, I woke up early that morning, and it was like 7 a.m. and they already had analysis breaking it down. What if he runs over there and he goes over here? Now, you know, he broke his knee last week, so he can't run. I was like,
right.
It was crazy. It was
And
like
been doing it for a whole 2 weeks, bro.
And it never plays
stops.
out the way they all said it was going to
No.
play out.
Yeah.
It never
you
does.
know. And the next morning they're arguing. I told you.
Yeah, right. Stephen A. Smith's hairline back here. See, now I said it. I said it.
We tune in for the show. So I think all of that, and like she said, the glamour of it has been gone. You know, so people are showing up ridiculous, and
Yeah.
it's just not what it. And there's, you know, we have this now. You know.
And I think people don't realize that what the Oscars, what the Oscars was supposed to be, and all of these award shows are just ways to keep the industry alive. Like it's all tricks to get you to be hype about films. And a lot of times it's films that you made, like we said, the films that we would have never watched. You know what I mean? Every year the Oscars come on, I'm like, what was that movie? I never heard of that.
Yeah.
And it's like wins all the awards. And then you end up going watching and you're like, I don't get it.
Good and terrible.
I don't see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just people got into it because they wanted to see what films were being honored, what dresses people were wearing. They didn't get into it to hear when you go into your acceptance speech and you hear yourself saying, "Thank you to everyone, and I'm so honored," and you know, as soon as you do that, it's like,
well, at first it was praise.
I'm changing the channel.
Right. It was praised when they first started doing it. I don't know who the first person was, but it was like, oh, here comes this person who's very lofty stepping down to speak for the common folk.
Right.
And it was kind of praised a little bit, but then it got really ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we're living in that era now.
Dude, the most ridiculous, and this is going to transition us into something else I want to talk about, was when Oprah got up there with that Time's Up thing the one year. Wasn't that at the Oscars?
Was it? No, that might have been the Oscars. I think that
One of those award shows. But she got up there talking about that, and afterwards everyone dragged her about her relationship with Harvey Weinstein.
And the Brazilian guru.
Yeah.
Who's
Brazilian
a pedophile.
dude. Yeah.
Right. And the person she picked to head up the Time's Up, her son was accused of sexual assault allegations.
And she said, we need a little more time for this one.
Actually, my time's up.
She's like, can we get a little more time? Did you find it?
It's just the Golden Globes.
Oh, okay.
But,
What's the
if
Golden
you want me
Globes?
to play a video off.
No, it's cool. We don't need to see that. But the funny thing is that now her peoples. Did y'all see the Snoop Dogg thing?
Yeah.
No.
You didn't see it?
What's
Okay,
Snoop Dogg?
this we can find and play because I want to show this. So first I want to show well, Gail, did you hear about Gail King
Show
did
Gail first.
Yeah, you got to show the.
Okay, so Gail King did an interview with Lisa Leslie, WNBA player. Remember? So she brings up her friendship with Kobe Bryant, and she kind of like takes it in the direction that you wouldn't expect.
She tries to coach her into an answer.
Right. Well, let's see if Rachel can find it so we can let the clip do the talking. Meantime, Kyle said, too many people believe that animals are defenseless and humans have the intellect to remove themselves from certain situations. Hence why people hate Vic but Dante Stallworth is all but forgotten. And he killed a person via manslaughter. Yes.
That's a
We
good
always
point.
say that.
It is a good point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Michael Vick was the villain of the NFL for
Still the
years.
villain.
Still is.
Well, some people haven't forgiven him yet.
Yeah.
A lot of people. They
Yeah.
they actually were gonna honor him for something. What was it? Something for the Hall of Fame or something.
Yeah.
And then they signed like 2 million
They stopped
people
it,
signed a
yeah.
petition.
2 million people.
It was something crazy.
Yo.
They still they're
It's
mad
been
at
said that
All right,
his
here we go.
legacy
Let's
is
check this out.
complicated because of sexual assault charge, which was dismissed in 2003, 2004. Is it complicated for you as a woman, as a WNBA player?
It's not complicated for me at all. Even if there's a few times that we've been at a club at the same time. Kobe's not the kind of guy, never been like, Lisa, go get that girl or tell her or send her this. I have other NBA friends that are like that. Kobe's, he was never like that. I just never have ever seen him being the kind of person that would be do something to violate a woman or be aggressive in that way. That's just not the person that I know.
But Lisa, you
Okay,
wouldn't-
pause it real quick. I just want to give a little commentary in between her talking, because if we let it play too long, they're gonna flag it. If we talk in between, it's fine. So she's trying to lead her down that road of, Kobe had these sexual assault charges. What do you know about it?
Right.
She says, to me, he wasn't that type of guy, so I don't believe it.
Right.
You know,
and that's where she should have stopped.
She should have let it go
That's
there.
the answer. You
But
had the question. There's
your
That's
answer.
where she should have stopped.
But you could tell she's pushing in a direction.
Right.
First of all, where she goes with this makes no sense. Right. Because we all have friends, right? And we all have been out with our friends. Mm-hmm. And when they're drinking and they're hanging out at clubs, no matter how good they don't hide that shit from you. Right. They do it in front of you.
Right.
If they're womanizers, they're going to be grabbing chicks in front of you. Like, you're going to see it. It's not, she says, but you're friends, so you wouldn't have seen it. You can let it continue now.
It though, as his friend, you wouldn't see it.
And that's possible. Mm-hmm. I just don't believe that. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying things didn't happen. Mm-hmm. I just don't believe that things didn't happen with force.
Is it even a fair question to talk about it, considering he's no longer with us and that it was resolved? Or is it really part of his history?
I think that the media should be more respectful at this time. It's like if you had questions about it, you've had many years to ask him that.
Many years. How many press conferences and interviews has he done?
I mean, it went to trial.
Yeah, well, it was dismissed because the victim in the case refused.
That's another
to
key word right
Notice
there.
how she calls her a victim.
Right.
And I think that's how we should leave it.
Right. So notice how she calls her. Go ahead.
Didn't they find like a couple men's
Yes.
Siemens?
Siemens furniture.
Inside of her,
Siemens
right?
Couple Navy Siemens. Inside of her.
Yep.
No, but yeah, they definitely found
It was
contradictory
more, it was multiple.
evidence.
Right.
They definitely found some discrediting things, and they settled outside of court. You know, and so technically, you can't just like her using the term victim is assuming that everything she said is true,
Right.
And putting that out there,
Right.
which is what a lot of other people had problems with.
Exactly.
And
Innocent until proven guilty.
right. But a lot of people were pointing out how like her and Oprah have been lately on this kick of like pushing this narrative about black men. You know, of course, people get upset about that because they don't call out Harvey Weinstein.
Nope.
They don't call out their buddies in Hollywood
Nope.
that are known
That they're linked to.
Yeah, that they're linked to.
Yeah. It's not that I saw this guy at a party, so I don't know. You are friends with this guy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So they call out Kobe. They call out
Charlie Rose.
They
Les Moonves.
They did
R.
the thing
Kelly.
on,
They did the thing on R. Kelly. They
Yep.
did the thing on Michael Jackson. You know, so people are like, "What are y'all doing?"
Right.
So, but the funny thing is, then you got Snoop Dogg.
Right.
Right.
And we have a theory about this, but
Right.
we
First, I want to say, this is why we're going to show the perfect example of why people need to stop letting rappers be their heroes and like they're guiding, you know. We had this, matter of fact, Kyle can chime in on this because we had a conversation not too long ago about the heroes that we have around these parts. If he's still watching, remember that conversation? We were all there, all of us.
It was
and
more,
it went a little bit left.
Wasn't it more Kwabi?
It was, but Kyle was involved in it too.
Was he?
Yeah, he was defending it too. But see if you can find the clip of Snoop Dogg tweeted a video to Gail after he saw the interview, and it's pretty freaking hilarious.
Yeah, I think the veil is coming off though.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the huge.
That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of
we
these spells are being broken.
We got to talk about that too after you.
Yeah.
Because there's something attached to this.
Yeah.
That I want to talk about.
Yeah.
But even like with the Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like stuff is coming out.
Right.
That's why the Oscars aren't as popular because even with us, I remember Dad used to say like, you got to give the people what they want. Got to give the people.
Yeah.
And also, he said, what did he always say? Like, we're entertainers. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, here we go. Let's check it out. First of all, what is on his head? What is he wearing? Stop it.
Gayle King. Out of pocket for that shit. Way out.
Wow, he just
What
makes
What
me
do you
laugh.
gain from that?
Okay, can we pause for a second?
Swear to God,
First of all, can
He
I
should have kept it right there as well.
Can I just say, like,
Wait. Are you going to talk about the angle of
that
the camera?
was yes.
'Cause
Like, what has anyone taught you how to use a phone or like social media at all? Like, why is his angle all down up his
Dude,
nose
you
with
know
his
why?
head cut
He's
off?
Snoop. It doesn't
'cause
matter.
He's Snoop Dogg. It don't matter.
He was on his couch. He was
Yo.
like, "What the? I gotta respond."
Yo, like no one taught you how to use a phone. You couldn't take the head wrap off, bro. This is what happens when you smoke weed all the time.
We the fucking worst. We expect more from you, Gayle. Don't you hang out with Oprah? Why y'all attacking us? We your people. You ain't coming after fucking Harvey Weinstein asking them dumbass questions. I get sick of y'all.
It's true.
It
I
is
want
true.
to call you one.
But this is where he goes too wrong. This is where he goes
Is it
too
okay
far.
if I call him one?
Yeah.
Funky dog head bitch. How dare you try to tarnish my motherfucking homeboy's reputation, punk motherfucker. Respect the family and back off, bitch, before we come get you.
Damn.
Now,
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Before you go on, did you
whoa,
know,
whoa.
Damn.
Did you know Condoleezza Rice as a response to
No,
that?
no, it's not Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah.
We're going to get there.
It's another
Su-
Rice.
It's Susan Rice. Yeah.
Okay.
The other Rice. The other black Rice.
Condoleezza Rice.
Sounds like a Mexican dish. Kyle trying to act like he don't know what I'm talking about, but he knows.
Yeah, that's why you put that face.
Yeah. But, okay, first
Damn.
of all, that insult was a little crazy. Like,
Right.
Like, he wanted to call her some other stuff.
Yeah.
But then,
What's that line? Hurt people, hurt people?
yeah.
That's
But
a-
then saying, like, respect the family or we're going to come and get you.
That's a threat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yep.
Like you, but the thing is, when you have this persona where you want to portray this thing like you got to be gangster all the time.
Yep. Snoop don't play.
Yeah, and that's what people were saying.
Right.
People, oh, Snoop don't play. Oh, they gonna send them Crips. You know what I mean? Like dummies buy into that.
No,
they
no.
don't understand that. This
Not in
dude,
that world.
This dude is an actor. This dude is a celebrity.
He's
This
not
dude,
really-
show with
yeah,
Martha
yeah,
Stewart.
this dude does a show with Martha Stewart.
Right.
He's not serious. Like
Right,
this is
right.
all just internet talk because he wants y'all to get on his side.
Right.
So then,
I believe he was upset.
Yeah.
no, I do, and
He's upset,
he's
yeah.
he's saying some true things about Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
And what she's doing.
He could
But
have stopped.
I'm saying like he had to push it to that level
Right,
of like,
right.
this is
I'm just imagining him like putting his phone down.
punk motherfucker. Like really?
Right.
Like what are you're talking to a woman, bro?
Yeah.
Old
You're talking
woman.
to a woman.
Right.
It's Gail.
Yeah,
Like,
it's Gail.
Old as hell.
It's
Right.
Gail. Like the most calm and like
Right.
So,
You
I
made
mean,
your
what
point.
he said in the beginning is true.
So now everyone was talking about Snoop's gangster and how he was like
Snoop ain't backing down on this one.
So
I
now
know Snoop.
I want you to find the tweet from Susan Rice after that video came out.
Susan
Now
Rice.
he's back.
Susan Rice tweeted at him
Gin
and
just
checked checked the shit out of him. Like
Gin and Juice got traded for some
He got a
apple
little
juice.
gangster too.
she got super gangster.
Yeah.
She got gangster in a real way where he knew it was serious.
Right.
That's what's funny about it.
Both of them went. That's an example of both of them going too far. Gail wanted to extract something from Lisa Leslie,
Yeah.
She wanted to get a sound bite.
right? And Snoop was trying to extract something from his viewing public.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we expect more from you, Gail. No. So
It's the
that's
second
Snoop's.
one. Yeah.
So that's the end. That's not her whole tweet, but this is the end of it where she says, "Snoop, back the bleep off. You came for at Gail King. You come against an army.
You will lose.
You will lose, and it won't be pretty."
Great.
So he saw that. It's now you have to find Snoop's follow-up video. After this tweet, he did another video. And the whole tone changed.
Right.
He
So you-
turned into Snoop Puppy.
Were you saying that he should have stood by it? Or
Huh?
You're saying he should have stood by it, or you're saying he the image.
I'm not saying what I'm saying he should have never went that far in the first
No, he
place.
shouldn't. He shouldn't have. But
after he did,
Right,
I'm
right.
saying like. I'm not saying what he should have did, but I'm just saying what he did is funny because he showed what he's really about,
Right,
and that he
right.
don't want like whatever Susan was whatever she was insinuating with that
Right.
tweet.
Right.
It had something.
I think Snoop got some calls.
Oh, definitely.
I think some calls were made because
Right.
that tweet wouldn't have done anything. I
Right.
mean, nothing.
No.
But obviously, you're playing with black elite,
Right.
and the gatekeepers, and like a couple. You and I were talking about that today.
Yeah.
A couple of calls were made. Oh yeah, that business you want. Oh yeah,
Right.
that smoke, that up and smoke tour, or whatever
Yeah.
it is that you do when you travel, whatever it is you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bus that you travel
Right.
around with.
all the investors that are linked in with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on Gail's side.
What kind of life do you want, there,
Right,
partner?
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, because she got death threats and all that from.
I don't see. That's another thing. I don't. That was said, but there's no
It was
proof of
said,
that.
yeah.
There's no
Everyone's using that now.
People
Oprah's
get
crying.
death threats for anything.
I was going to
Exactly.
say that, yeah. They just do it.
So that's the full tweet from her, actually, which the beginning, like you said, this is despicable. Gayle King is one of the most principled, fair, and tough journalists alive. Back the bleep off. You come
You
from
work
Gayle
for
King.
That's
Obama.
also a lie.
It's not me.
Yeah, you work for Obama, so
Right.
we don't believe anything you say.
Right. But that's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
She got the
No,
whole
I know.
Obama army
Right,
behind Oprah, who is going to come after Snoop.
Right,
and
right.
Snoop don't want that smoke at all.
Because he sees how they try to get Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't.
And
I
I
think.
don't
I
think
think
he has
Snoop's
those
businesses and
scripts
endeavors got threatened.
Oh yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
But that's what I'm
When-
saying.
when-
That's the smoke he don't want.
when
He
you
knows
play
that
in
they,
that world-
they can eliminate all of his investment
I think
opportunities.
Snoop got too busy bashing Trump and talking all this trash online about stuff that he normally does, and then he came across the wrong person.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I shouldn't have did that.
You know what's hilarious about the hypocrisy in the media to me? Not only like, you remember the was it a video that Snoop did where he did like a mock assassination of Trump?
I didn't even know about that.
I didn't know.
Yeah, there was like either a music video or like an album cover where he was showing like Trump being murdered, and exactly y'all didn't know about it, but Trump does that campaign video about the Army veteran and then Nancy Pelosi ripping up the thing, and she's trying to get it taken down from Facebook because it's deceptive editing. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, and they're like on the news talking about it, how this is inciting violence, death threats, death. They always throw that out there, death threats, inciting violence. And it's like, this is a literal video of you pretending to kill Trump.
Yeah.
Right.
No one cares. You know what I mean? It's like so dumb.
I want to go back to something though, which is this: because of Snoop's ignorance, he's taken off the real smoke, which is what Gail was alluding to, what she was trying to do,
Right.
and now turned Gail into the ultimate victim,
Right.
Instead of focusing on where Gail was wrong and in her questioning.
It now becomes about her being a victim
now
of
becomes
death
about
threats,
her.
and him being a misogynist.
There you go.
And threatening a woman. Yeah.
And this is where we can't allow rappers and certain people to speak for us, because in their wording of things, certain things get pushed forward, and next thing you know, you get mixed up in this soup of information. You can't even figure this thing out because the focus is on what he said and not actually the details of what's going on.
Right.
So you don't even know is she a victim now? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
So what up, though? This big Snoop Dogg. Here's a message for the people that need to know. I'm a nonviolent person. When I said what I said, I spoke for the people who felt like Gail was very disrespectful towards Kobe Bryant and his family. Now, with that being said, what I look like wants some harm to come to a 70-year-old woman. I was raised way better than that. I didn't want no harm to come to her and didn't threaten her. All I did was said, check it out. You out of pocket.
Is that what he
you
said?
doing is
No.
I
watching.
mean, I'm pretty sure he said, "You punk ass bitch.
Yeah.
You come for the fam, and we gonna come get you."
Right.
Like,
That sounds like
He was talking like how he normally talks, but
he backpedaled all the way to
Snoop Dogg's business endeavors got threatened.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what Kyle
But
said.
what
Like,
are we talking about? Like, as a whole, like none of it matters in terms of they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and they all are gonna like. If it takes away from Gail, it's a circus. That's the point. Like it's
But
like
that's-
watching.
that's the point of
Love
bringing
and
it
hip
up.
hop. No. I'm just saying like you're never gonna take away a Snoop Dogg. You know, there's always gonna be people like that.
Right.
Like, just don't get pulled into it.
That's the
don't
point.
Get pulled
That's
into
the point.
Yeah.
Don't let yourself be caught up in caring about what Snoop Dogg has to say.
Right.
You know, it's like the Dave Chappelle
or
joke.
even Gail.
Yeah,
Even,
absolutely.
What she was trying
But
to do.
that to me, what the thing is this exposed Gail for who she is and her agenda, because she was definitely biased by that.
Right.
You know, even she tried to make an apology as well.
Right.
If I saw the clip, she blamed CBS and
She
all that stuff
blamed
like
CBS
that. No, you
about
were
the
wrong.
editing.
The content.
Yeah.
Like it was taken out
Taken
of
out of
context.
context. People love using that nowadays
And
too.
people have a right to question her relationships of Harvey Weinstein, Les Moonves, Charlie Rose, the guru from Brazil. There's a lot of things that they have done, and these sort of people kind of almost speak for black people, and we need to start saying, no, you don't speak for us. We have a mind of our own, and we can see for ourselves. You know, people are just hurt because Kobe was a beloved sports figure, and that one was like,
well, black people need to stop having someone speak for them. Period.
absolutely.
Like, no
And- but
one- no
I'm
one
saying
else-
Oprah and Gail. Oprah has positioned herself to speak for the black
That's
community.
what I'm saying. But it's because you have to give them that role, though.
Yeah. So this is good because it exposed them, in my opinion, it exposed them for who they are. Because if you said that to the average person, they're gonna be like, nah, I don't see that. You know, the Russell Simmons one, she got a lot of smoke for that one. You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. That
If
didn't
you
that
have it.
didn't that get taken out?
yeah, she said there was inconsistencies in the witness testimony.
My mom chimes in about the age. She's not 70. He's making her older. My mom's offended.
She don't want to.
She don't
want to be putting that guy.
Yeah.
How old is she, Mom? You tell us.
Mitch Halliday says 48-hour news cycle. By Friday, this is over. Dude, I think it's even shorter.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's a
Yeah, it'll
12
pass.
12
Oprah said
hour.
it. Oprah said it. She said it'll be like all things. This shall pass.
But that's why you can't get caught up in the news. That's why
Right,
you can't
right.
be obsessed with like trying to know what's going on with the news. What's
Right,
this
right.
here?
The hair
Y'all
though.
ain't seen this meme yet?
No.
Okay, this is the internet meme that's going around.
Yo, the internet has zero fatalities.
Like I said, I love it because I think it exposes,
Right.
number one, our desire to be informed by celebrity and be validated by them, what they're
Right.
doing, what they're wearing, what they're saying, what they're thinking, who they're voting for,
Right.
their ideas, their ideologies, their religious beliefs, all of those things. They do have such a platform, and for a long time, Oprah's held that over a lot of people. People want to be like this woman.
Yeah.
If you have an eye to see.
Yeah, that's
or
true.
an
That's
ear
true.
to hear. Which I think a lot of people, like you said earlier, the veil is being broken off.
Yeah, that's why. That's why I think it's good that it does happen. You know, because people are pointing that out. She'll never answer those Harvey Weinstein questions.
Yeah.
I mean, why is Oprah given so much? Because she's a billionaire. Because she's built, a major
Media empire.
empire, and people. So they give her that
They idolize
clout,
that.
I guess
Right.
you could say,
Right.
and she becomes an image or an idol that they look up to.
The same way Trump was before he ran for president.
Yeah.
That
In
they-
every
No,
rap song.
It's before he came at
Question,
Obama.
question the birth.
You come at the like Obama's next to Jesus in most people's houses.
Yeah, but see, all that is, it just it speaks to your own insecurities of
Right.
like that you need that to validate yourself.
you.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you need that idol, you need that thing to lead you, to give you hope when it's not really real.
Right.
You know?
Right, and that's the problem. You're always going to be let down by look at what happened with Bill Cosby. You know what I mean? Like you laud these people up in this position of like something to aspire to, and then you find out that it's really not something you should aspire to, and now all of a sudden you're looking for the next one. And it's not a good way to think in general.
Yeah, I mean, even a Kobe Bryant, like, he wasn't a perfect dude. Like,
Yeah, of
he
course
made
not.
a lot of mistakes, but and probably a lot of them you'll never know about.
Right.
But it's not for us to be picking everybody apart.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
I mean, of course, he's a celebrity, and that's what people do. But
go ahead.
I think it hurt more now because his daughter was with him.
Yeah. And also people were like jumping on it minutes and hours after he died. It's like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
but for their own gain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's all narcissism at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Wasn't Susan Rice involved with getting Jussie Smollett off the first time?
I don't know.
She probably made the call.
Wasn't she the one that?
Yeah, she was.
That was involved with Kim Fox.
I thought it was the Asian woman.
Auntie Fox.
Yeah, I think it was
involved.
Oh,
She's
okay.
involved too, yeah.
Yeah.
What we're seeing is that there is an elite group. There are certain gatekeepers in the society, and they're the movers and shakers of this world. They don't run everything, but they're put in charge of certain communities.
Right.
And that's just what it is. And Snoop Dogg, like I said, once you get involved with record labels, businesses, all stuff like that, you're welcome to play. If you could bring the money and the audience. But if you step on coattails, I guarantee you, later on that night, Snoop got some phone calls.
Right.
Oh, you know he did.
It wasn't no tweet that it ain't. The tweet is to, he's scared. Nope. It's a couple of calls. Say, all right, buddy, time to apologize.
Right.
You want this business? You want this? You want these endeavors? All these things. And they laid out to him what he's going to lose.
That's what Kyle said. Snoop Dogg just learned the real gangsters don't gangbang. They take your opportunities.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yep.
You know?
I mean, and that's been going on
Forever.
for so long.
Forever.
But the thing is, I also want to add to this. This is the first time Oprah's feeling heat from the black community. This is the first time her and Gail, because they've been beloved for a long time.
Right.
So
Untouchable.
This is the first time.
Yeah.
This is the first time, and you could see by their reaction, they're not used to this. They're not used to that because they would present certain ideas and ideologies to the black community, and we would just soak it up. We would eat up. For so long, she's been deified, right? So now that these things are happening, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you just have to let these things happen and see it for what it is. But you have to if you don't open your eyes, you're not going to see it. But I think it's good, you know?
Yeah.
I agree.
I think it's good too. I think people need to see past the veil, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And that's what this does. Like the Oscars, the Grammy. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, the
all
Grammys
BS.
was another torture session. Like just watching any of that was just like, it's just becoming so exposed how fake and ridiculous it all is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think people are buying into it as much as they were before.
No.
The internet has kind of like lifted the veil a little bit about that, you know, because the Grammys before was like this amazing, thing.
Right.
But now
and there's been a lot of things recently, like the Grammy being fake and rigged, and people are over it. Like you said, like 48-hour cycle, try more 12-hour cycle.
Right, exactly,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
People are moving on.
Right. Yeah, like I can't even remember all of the things that were bombshell breaking news stories from last week. You know what I mean? Like there's a bombshell story every day.
Right.
And it's like it's here and gone. You know what I mean? Like no one barely talks about Jeffrey Epstein anymore. And that was when you think about how insane that whole story was.
Yeah.
And you barely hear about it.
Yeah, the defense just rested their case today.
Did they?
Yeah. And nobody heard it. You didn't hear anything about it.
Nothing on the news.
Right.
That's crazy.
Bed sheet pen. I think he did it.
Both cameras went out. Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein? Or are you talking about the?
No.
You talking about Weinstein?
Weinstein.
Yeah.
Oh,
What'd you say,
okay.
Epstein?
Epstein. Yeah. The other Steen. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Oprah, you have anything to add about these guys? No. Oh, no.
Yo,
So all these random pictures of me kissing
Isn't
them.
Corey Feldman coming out with a documentary about child
I don't
sex
know.
something?
Corey Feldman kind of lost me, man.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was just like grifting a little bit, like the way he was handling everything. He's like, I'm gonna expose all these people, but first I need people to give me $3 million so I could put it in a documentary. It's like, why? How? Like that
$3 million for a documentary.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. Like it's like
they make documentaries
you're
for
so
like 20,000.
traumatized, and all the people that you knew, like, and I do believe that he was molested, and I do believe that like the people that he dealt with, like Corey Haim, killed himself or whatever, and they grew up in those circles, and we know from all the stuff we've talked about, Baby Burlesque and all the pedophilia going on in Hollywood, and the predatory situation there. I do believe that stuff happened to them, but at the same time, it's like don't turn it into some type of money grab situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, there's more to it than that. Like, there was a dancer from one of his, he was doing the like fake Michael Jackson type thing.
Yeah.
And she was just saying how crazy him and his wife were with everything, and they were so like controlling. And yeah, she was just talking about like just a little bit behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. I heard some stuff about behind the scenes, like how they were treating the girls that they were hiring for these shows he would do, and like
this is Corey Feldman.
Yeah, and they weren't getting paid all the time, and like it was just like it seemed like
a lot of manipulation, a lot of weird.
The bottom line is that's a dark place.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's presented to us as being glamorous. It reminds me of like the fruit in like the garden, how beautiful it is. But if you bite into it, what you get out of it,
right?
I think people just don't. That metaphor is like when you get there, like how many women have gone to become actresses and had to turn to like pornography or something. You know what I mean? Because they're so trapped into that world of wanting to be an actress, and next thing you know, they're doing.
That's what this dude from the documentary, like he was obsessed with doing that, and then he ended up being a male escort.
Yeah.
And then he was on all these like gay porn websites, and then
I think Rashida Jones did that documentary.
Oh, did she?
Something like that, where it was like the world of these actresses that they want to be famous, and they go out there, and then they're starving artists, and who wants to be a waiter or be a barista? You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
Same thing with New York. It's the same thing. It's like we're obsessed with it, and you get into this world, and the things that they make you do to attain these goals are way lower than your standards. But you want to achieve this thing so bad, you're like, I'll do it.
Not only that, like you go and you want to achieve all this stuff, and you have a bunch of abortions, or you put off relationships, and then you turn around and you're 60 years old, and you
compromise on morals a lot of times. You find yourself sleeping with dudes that you think will give you opportunities, and then they don't, and then you're scarred now.
And maybe they do give you the opportunity, but it's for a season.
Right.
Which is what I think happened with the Bill Cosby thing. I'm sorry. The Bill Cosby situation was this woman who he was paying, he was giving her money, and then when he got to a certain age, and this is what I've told you this before, I feel like when he got to a certain age and his body doesn't function anymore, he was like, I'm not paying you anymore. And she's like, wait a minute. We had a deal. She thought that deal was forever.
He's like, that deal only works when it works both ways, baby.
Right. I get something from you, you get something from me.
And
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I think that's what I think she wasn't getting the money that she thought she was supposed to get, and she changed her mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
what up, X?
Oh, Xavier's watching. What's up, X? So Jussie Smollett got indicted.
Good.
Yeah. Jussie's indicted.
Jussie Smollett, that French actor.
Smollett.
And his court date is on my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. So that should be interesting.
And Kobe Bryant's funeral.
Kobe Bryant's funeral is on the same day. Yeah. But I thought that was funny that he they brought the charges back up on him, and he just got indicted. It just happened today.
Yeah, it's that special.
But I hope that it goes further than that. I hope that these attorneys and these
dude, I hope Kim Fox gets exposed.
I hope the double justice system stops existing.
Yeah,
and it's one justice system.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope they all get
take
exposed.
some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swamp's got to be cleaned.
Yeah.
Drain the swamp.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I enjoyed that, man. Last winter was beautiful.
Former Empire actor Jussie Smollett indicted again. Yeah. Yo, Chicago is crazy though. Chicago is crazy, dude. I've been watching this. Anybody see that documentary about Malcolm X on Netflix?
I've started it, but I didn't.
I started it too.
I watched like a couple episodes. It's very interesting, man. Like when you see just how involved the FBI was in the nation.
Yeah.
Like they had people in every mosque. They had people in every sect.
I believe it.
Like they were watching Elijah Muhammad from the beginning. They were watching Malcolm X. Like,
Yeah. But you know what's crazy about that, right? So whenever we put anything in a group text, we always put up Oswald Bates.
yeah,
You know, the conspiracy brother.
Yeah.
But it's funny that Stokely Carmichael, Malcolm X, Bobby Seals, Huey,
yeah,
they all said that these things were true. That they were infiltrators.
Right.
And it just sounded like conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But it is.
They sound paranoid, right? But no,
That is
it was
true, yeah.
when because they went into the case files. They brought out the case files.
Yeah.
Like, and they were showing like all of the information the FBI had. You know, the way they were tapping. They were monitoring Elijah Muhammad's phones 24/7.
Yeah.
24 more than they were talking about like all the other black leaders. Like he was the number one that they were watching.
Yep.
And I honestly think that they felt like when it was just him that they could control
They could.
the nation because he had so many vices. Like
Yeah.
they knew all of his women he
The
was
women.
sleeping
Yep,
with.
yep,
They knew
yep.
like all
They had
the
enough
things.
on him.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they knew that they could come in and check him. But Malcolm was so
He was a
straight
smooth-
edge,
yeah.
Yeah.
and he was
Yeah.
and he was so dynamic, and people were following him. And then when he started to break away,
Yeah.
that's when you
Yeah,
you
he really
saw,
believed in that. But I think there's something interesting here. I was talking to Dylan today about this, right? Not about that particular, but about these men. I think Malcolm enjoyed the pleasure of the flesh before he converted.
Right.
I think Elijah was like, I'm going to do this
Yeah.
to enjoy the pleasure
because
of the
he
flesh.
was poor before.
Yes.
And then he decided, I'm going to be. First of all, what was with that ridiculous wizard hat he used to wear all the time? Dudes, like, I was
Right.
just watching the documentary. I'm like, how could you listen to a dude wearing that hat?
It's like every dude who finds like a semblance of the truth, but then is like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I could run this.
Yeah, right.
Always ends up in
And
some
get the
hat
ladies.
and a crazy
Some
situation.
kind of bedazzled hat.
Yeah.
There's going to be stars and moons on it.
As soon as you see that, back away.
See if you
Right.
can pull
I mean, that's
pull a
kind of
picture
like-
of Elijah Muhammad.
The wizardry. It's kind of like an outward expression of what's happening inward, like literally showing how he's putting a crown on his head in a way. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And that's how
I
he
am a
sees
king.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Malcolm really believed what he was saying. The guy who converted Malcolm in prison, Malcolm really believed it.
Yeah.
And he was one of the main guys that turned on him.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but I feel like Malcolm lived his life.
Yeah, look at that hat. Come on, man. That thing is a wizard hat.
How
if
can
I've
I
ever
get
seen
laid?
one.
I
He's
know.
like, I can't make it pointy because it's too clan-like.
Listen, it's the same thing with this. The thing is this: people look at that guy and be like, "He's a radical."
Yeah.
But Joseph Smith did the same
Did the same
thing.
thing.
The
Right.
same
The same thing.
David Koresh, it's
Yeah.
like the same thing. It's like, it's all about getting laid.
Or listening to who's the dude? Dave, the dude that converted all the Klan members.
Daryl Davis.
Daryl Davis, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you listen to him talk about what the Klan meetings are like, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing, man.
There's one guy that
Yeah.
becomes the Grand Wizard, and they call him Grand Wizard.
Yeah. The
Like,
Nighthawk.
yeah,
Yeah, it's the same. It's power control,
Right.
and
Isn't
they
like
want
a
access to women.
Cyclops?
There's a Cyclops. Yeah, there's like all of these
Cyclops.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they want access to women.
Yep.
That's what it is.
It's like Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
but like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a weird fantasy world,
Right.
like
Yeah.
when you're a little kid, except I'm gonna live this out in real life.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, we're
so I think we
35.
figured this out.
Behind
All
the
of
veil
these
of
radicals just need to get laid, and then
That's what it is.
then-
But Malcolm really believed it, though.
yeah,
he
no,
really
no,
did.
Malcolm was bought in.
Yeah.
But it was crazy to watch. Like, did you know the dudes that ended up killing him were from New Jersey?
Newark,
they were,
right?
They were from the Newark Mosque.
Oh, okay.
They still haven't caught. They only caught one of the dudes.
Right.
Samani's mother was in the mix and
Oh.
like a big supporter. I think she was in the room at the time that he was killed.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
So he's an interesting person to talk to about
Yeah.
that whole time.
Wow.
Well, 3 people went to jail.
Yeah, 3 people went to jail, but two
But
of the
two
dudes
of 'em-
spent 20 years in jail and weren't even involved.
Yeah.
Like the third person that went, he wrote an affidavit naming everyone who was involved and said that those 2 dudes were innocent and they should be, but the
they
police
didn't
force
care.
didn't want to. They wanted to act
Right.
like they caught the guys that did it,
Yeah. Right,
to
right.
put an end to it and close the case.
It's crazy.
But didn't they? Well, I'm speaking about the movie because you know how in the movie they like grabbed the guys,
Yeah.
started beating them up.
One of the dude that the only one that got caught, the only one that actually got caught that wrote the affidavit, he was shot by one of Malcolm's bodyguards.
Yeah.
So he like limped his way out into the streets, and then they grabbed him and started beating his ass. The cops had to come save him. You know, so that's why he got arrested. Otherwise, he would have got away.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but the other ones got away, and the reason why is because they used people that weren't familiar with. They used people from another city.
Who's they?
Whoever planned it,
Organized
organized it. And you know, someone had to organize it. There was 3 shooters.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I believe it was a double coercion there.
Yeah.
Let's help each other.
I believe so too, and it could have been
There was
that
tension
Elijah
between
Muhammad
Elijah
was connected with the FBI from the beginning.
Oh,
You
yeah.
never know.
Oh, I know. Listen, Al Sharpton was one.
Right.
He's an FBI informant.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And who's to say Elijah Muhammad wasn't that from the beginning? You know, and then Malcolm X got a little out of hand.
Right.
And they were like, we need to do something. Because they showed the paperwork from J. Edgar Hoover saying like, do something about Malcolm X. I'm tired of this. You know what I mean? Like he gave the command.
So you see, it's like all this stuff is like the mob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just under, like even the FBI, like it's all like it's underworld type crimes.
Right.
You know what I mean? But really, who's really running stuff?
Yeah.
Type thing. You know what I mean?
And then it's all taken and put into comic book form with Xavier and Magneto. We call them mutants.
The mutants. Kyle said he's looking like Grand Poobah from the Flintstones. Yo, a lot of cartoons, TV shows, films from back in that day, they used to reveal some serious, based ass stuff, yo. Like, did you ever see the old? It's like a Betty Boop cartoon about like secret societies. Want to be a member? It's like they say this dude gets caught in this trap, and the whole time they're trying to make him a member. See if you can find. See if you can find that.
Yep. The Traps of Life. There's a bunch of them.
Like they
were
some
deep.
base stuff.
They were
back
deep.
Then,
they were
man.
deep. But people were really against that stuff. That stuff really didn't take root until like the 1940s, 1930s.
Yeah.
And then the 1960s it really took root.
Right.
But people were against that. They weren't for that, you know?
Yeah.
In fact, Daryl Davis said that the Klan, there was so many subscriptions to the Klan, but when people found out what they were really about, people were like, because they didn't call it that.
Right.
It's a national movement, nationalist, or whatever it is.
They would go to communities that were poor and that would like lose the coal mining jobs or whatever.
Right.
All the jobs would go away, or black people would get all the jobs because they ended up taking the
cheaper labor. Yeah.
So then they would come in and they would say, "You these niggers taking your job," and they would get them all riled up. The same, but think about what Malcolm was doing. It's the same thing.
The same thing.
He would go into these black neighborhoods where people were getting beat up by cops, where people couldn't find work, where people felt like it was racist, and he would say, the white man wants you to live by their laws, but they don't live by their laws. You know?
Right.
Yeah. This is it right here. Play it from the beginning, though. This is an old-ass cartoon, but it's like when you... Bimbo's initiation. Like, it's so weird what they're talking... Like, why is this a cartoon?
Bimbo.
So he's walking down the street. You see Mickey make it. You see Mickey make a little appearance.
Got you.
Now he goes into like some weird secret society where they're all paddling each other's butts.
And blackface.
And they all got blackface on.
Wanna be a member? Wanna be a member?
No.
Yeah. We got a feisty one here.
There's the way out.
Wanna be a member? Wanna be a member?
No.
Okay, so we can take it towards the end a little bit. Like, you get the idea. They take him through all of these like weird situations, and they keep asking him if you want to be a member, and he keeps turning it down. And they're like, "We're gonna keep fucking with you until we can get you to commit to be a member of what? You know what I mean?" Which is so weird. But take it to the end. You can go even further, because you'll see. They take him through. Oh, okay, go back a little bit. So that's Betty Boop. So now you see that this gives you insight into what Betty Boop really was. The concept of it.
The ideas of what they
Yeah. So he's going through all these things.
His shadow loses his head.
Yeah. Shadow get decapitated. There's so much symbology in this stuff. It's crazy, yo.
1932.
And the whole time he's just trying to get away. He's trying to get out of there.
Gulp.
Lost his heart.
Yeah.
It's swallowed it back.
No.
Uh-huh. Look.
He just...
Yeah, twerking. Next time you see those twerk videos, every time you see, look, they've been doing this Instagram shit from day one.
What's up with her ears?
Wanna be a member? Yes.
Now he says
Now
yes.
he wants-
And look, they all turn into her.
That's all you want?
And now he's happy to be a member.
Yeah.
Now he's happy.
Yep.
Yo, the psychology of that
Yeah.
cartoon is ridiculous, yo. It's ridiculous. And
Listen, what is it? It's in plain sight, and it's eyes wide shut, man.
Right. Eyes wide shut.
But we just don't want to see it, and we don't. What it is? You and I have talked about this. All of us have talked about this. The truth is right in front of us, but we don't want to see it because it's going to shatter our very minds of the existence we have, what we've been told for so long.
Right.
We don't want to deal with it, so we rather. I just want to watch TV. I don't want to hear about this.
Just want to watch Love and Hip Hop.
But isn't that what, like, think about? I know a lot of people don't know this, but the Bible story.
Yeah.
When Israel was in front of Mount Sinai, right? And you see the lightning and the smoke, the glory of God, and he wants them to come up. And they're like, "Oh no, Moses, you go, you speak to him. We don't
want to deal with that.
We don't want
We just
any
want to
parts
watch.
of that."
We just want to watch our reality shows and stay
Yeah.
here, and
And that's kind of the same.
Yeah.
Right. It's the same way of thinking,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
We want to all sit here and believe that body positivity is a thing.
Yeah.
Did you guys?
But see what happened.
Body
what happened?
positivity.
He went up, and what did they do?
Created their own.
They created a idol right there.
They
and started
said-
worshiping.
But they said that was the God that took them out
Right.
of Egypt. This is the God that saved us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and that's what we do in our. And it's funny too because when that happened, Moses is like, "Well, wait, this is God testing you
Yeah.
to fear Him, right?" So it's literally like he's putting a choice before them. Are you going to choose life or are you going to choose death, right?
Want to be a member?
Yeah.
Want to be a
Right.
Are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the tree of life? Or are you going to choose to stay in your state from eating the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Because what you're doing is you're judging the situation that's put before you and thinking it's not going to be good for you.
Right.
Even though you're scared. You know what I mean? And that's what people don't want to feel a certain way. So then they're like, "Oh, I don't want to deal with that."
Yeah.
You know? And they don't.
They rather stay in where they're comfortable and where
Right.
things are easy and they can just live
Right.
their life.
I
Yeah.
don't
then the
wanna
next
say
question is-
they.
sorry.
I would say we.
Right.
'cause-
No, that's true.
'cause
It's true.
we
There's
do
all
it
different
the
levels
time.
of it.
Yeah.
Like Bimbo went through all them levels until they found the one that was going to get him. You know what I mean?
My bread issues, my
Right.
pasta, which is ingrained deep in my soul that I can't seem to shake.
Rachel would have got
No
through all
matter
those
how hard I
levels until
try.
there was a
Pasta
whole
bowl.
room of bread.
Like rigatoni, I'm in. Like,
So, did y'all see the picture that just came out of Lizzo on the beach?
No.
No.
Do I have to?
Yes, Rachel, please do us the honor.
You don't need.
We need to. We need to because I need to get honest reactions, and we need to talk about this.
Why is that the song? Why men great till they gotta be great?
I don't know.
Is that Lizzo?
Lizzo.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You're not necessarily doing it. I mean, I'm not even
Well,
going to say. I was going to say doing it justice, but there's no
this,
justice in the song.
The whole purpose of this is that Lizzo has become this figure of body positivity.
Right.
This whole movement that a lot of people don't know that one of the biggest backers of that movement is the people that own Ben and Jerry's, which is a crazy conflict when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like people that are on a diet don't eat ice cream. You know what I mean? But so people don't understand the levels of this shit that you're under. So it's like get everyone to be okay with being extremely overweight and don't act like there's nothing wrong health-wise with that and that you're supposed to just love yourself and that you're sexy and no matter what size you are. And so she'll put on the Spanx and she'll put on the, oh
my goodness.
And you'll see her in the video where she's all done up, or at the Lakers game. Remember that clip from her at the Lakers game where she was
showing her butt cheeks.
twerking?
Right.
You know,
I don't want my kids seeing that.
But when the Photoshop doesn't exist, and when the Spanx don't exist, and when paparazzi's catching you on the beach, it looks like that. You know what I'm saying? And that you can't tell me that that's healthy. You cannot. You can't lie to me and tell me that that's healthy.
But people will be like, "Oh, but she's so strong because
she's brave. She's courageous."
Yeah.
I got a question. How's her heart?
Yeah, exactly.
How much is that?
If she's really strong, then she should, be strong enough to say no to the cheesecake.
Yo,
that's part of the body positivity movement and narrative, though, is just because someone's bigger, that doesn't mean you've seen their workup and you know what's going on. Do you know what I'm saying? That's part of the sell that they're trying to put across is you can't tell me she's unhealthy because
I tell you what
don't
I see.
know.
I see diabetes.
Well, that's what wasn't it Jillian Michaels that said something about that? And she
was like, well, why do we have to talk about the fact that she's that why can't she just be a great artist, not a great
Right.
Which I got what she was saying.
Yeah.
I don't think she was wrong.
No, she was absolutely right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She said we don't want to applaud diabetes. You know what I mean? And that's true.
And it's funny because in one context they're like, she's an expert, and then they're like, we don't want to hear from the expert. That's what she does for a living. I think she would be familiar. And she was once overweight herself.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
and
Liz is not attractive.
I mean,
I'm sure there's some guys that like
sure,
that. But
sure.
But on the grand scheme of things,
But as a whole,
because if you think about it, attractiveness comes from a deep biological set of principles that are wired in us. And it all stems from someone's health triggers you to think how they are as a mate to bear children and how long their life will live, and genetics, how that genetics is going to transfer with yours. Those are things that are all wired into us. Yeah. And people want to bypass that when it's convenient.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, she's doing it because she's saying that she feels sexy and attractive, but the guys she likes are basketball players,
right?
Who don't look like it. She's not pointing out no fat dudes,
right?
I've told you that before. When Monique put out that movie called Fat Girls,
right?
It was about fat girls, but her love interest was this muscular African guy.
We went to a premiere of that in Atlanta. Remember?
Did we?
And you guys faked it the entire way.
Everything.
Don't you remember that when we went to the premiere for Fat Girls?
It's interesting to me that if you pay attention on any of the female-driven shows, like The View or anywhere where there's a lot of women, anytime they have a dude come out to do something, present something, whatever the case may be, he is often shirtless and buff. They've always got
yes.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The stagehand to come out and all the audience women cheer.
Yeah.
I saw a clip of an interview of something, so I'm like, oh, well, isn't this interesting and a total double standard?
It's convenient.
Right. They're saying that stop shaming us for the way we look, but then they like muscular in shape guys.
I got it. Your boy X.
X
man.
is crazy.
What is he?
Of course, he's talking about the picture of Lizzo. He said she probably got the best.
He said, "I take it.
I'll take it." She probably. We know you would take it.
Yeah, you go ahead and take
Go
it.
ahead
I mean,
and take
we're not-
that. Like
You better not let-
You're in
what
a
he
line
likes.
all by yourself.
See?
You better not let your lady see that.
You know, at nighttime when you go down to whatever food truck and there's one line and everybody's at that one and there's nobody there. That's the Lizzo line right there.
And Kyle said he likes Lizzo's message, but she's not a healthy size. What's
the message?
What's her
the
message?
message?
Explain to me what her message is. Because her message is that everyone.
Okay, so she said,
So
right, this is the famous recent quote, pop culture quote, bam. I'm not trying to sell you me. I'm trying to sell you you.
What?
Oh.
That's her famous quote as far as the acceptance and the positivity and whatever. So this is what y'all are talking about, right?
But you don't
So
want me to mansplain.
change is uncomfortable. Like nobody wants to change. So it's a lot easier to be like, accept who you are, whether it's big or small or whatever the case may be. You don't have to change anything. You're good. That's like what everyone is kind of like, okay, I can connect to that. Big, small, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to change. I'm good.
And
like that's an
that's-
easy message to accept.
And
yeah.
that's why 70% of Americans are obese.
Yep, and that's why
Yeah.
Planet Fitness
But-
is so huge.
Yeah.
serving pizza.
Why is
after
she
Fridays?
Yeah.
big? Why is she?
Yo, they got donut Mondays and pizza
And
Tuesdays.
Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah.
I don't even mind her saying all of that. I don't try and convince me that that's healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can think whatever you want.
Right. And that's fine. If you want to be
Go for
if
it.
you want to be lazy and be obese and
Right.
and not care about your health,
I don't care.
That's you.
That's you.
That's what I'm saying. Like you,
That's the
just like
But stop trying to shove
the
it down.
celebrities are doing when they're getting up. They're trying to shove shit down our face.
But she's not. Why is she popular? Like, how did she get popular?
I think she's doing.
I don't know.
No,
She's
but how did she get popular?
from
That's what I'm.
from showing her body off and being fat at the same time.
and they took that as
On
bravery.
social
Right.
media.
Is that what it was on social media? I don't know.
She got popular from being on social media
And being risque.
doing music, but
Xavier is the worst.
what
I don't know.
happened?
I would have to go look into it, but she
He
has
li-
been risque with the Instagram posts for a while. Like
He
even
like-
before
he likes
the
him big,
songs
though.
blew up, there was sort of this like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Watch me twerk naked
But
on
it's-
Instagram,
it's
and that's
almost-
always gonna work no matter what size you are. Kind
Right.
of.
It's like
you
a
know,
comedic. There's a
Yeah.
comedic play to
Yeah,
it. You know what I mean?
that
Like
too.
She's
like a
playing it
little
up.
tongue in cheek.
right, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, there's a reason why she got popular. People, they liked what they saw in terms of her confidence, and that's it.
But it's all fake though, because
It-
she's super insecure.
It
'cause-
is all fake. But there was something I watched the other day, and this girl was like, it was about social media. And it was like, it's about being vulnerable. And you just got to be vulnerable. Like being on social media, it's about putting yourself out there.
All right, so don't put makeup on when you do your video next time, and don't take 100 selfies to post one.
No,
Show
but
me that vulnerability.
That's the point. You're not being vulnerable because you're not really showing who you are.
right.
And but they're trying to tell you that this is who they are. But is it really? No, it's the version of you that you still want to show.
Right, right.
And she's good at showing that and being a fake strong in that,
Right.
because she's good at, and that's the thing. People who are good at being loud cover up a lot of their weaknesses because they're so damn loud. And that a lot of times is their strength. So you don't pay attention. They're like, oh, hey,
Yeah.
pay attention to this over here. Don't pay attention to that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what she does. That's what the entertainment industry is about. It's like pay attention to.
But she's actually talented. She's actually talented. I mean, she's not terrible.
I mean, she's talented. I wouldn't
She
not
sings
take
too,
that
right?
away from her. Yeah.
She can. Yeah,
she can play the flute. She's
Yeah.
like,
I'm just saying.
She's a flautist.
Yeah.
The hysteria is in proportionate to the talent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's not about that.
Right.
right.
My whole point is
It's the era of gimmick, man.
stop trying to
Well, it's always been about
stop
that.
trying to turn it into this whole movement and like even the whole like I'm
I
trying
don't
to
think she
sell
meant
you-
for that. I think the internet reacted that way, and she saw it and she was like, "I'm gonna go with
she's
this.
grabbing
I'm gonna
it,
run
yeah.
with this." You know what I mean?
Now everything is like when she went to the basketball game.
Yeah.
You got your butt cheeks out, and there's kids
Right.
there,
And I think that's
you're
what people are
sitting on the
confused
seat.
about, yeah.
Like I don't.
And she waited for the camera to be pointed at her
Yeah.
so she could twerk in front
It's
of the
lewd
camera.
behavior. It's
so
lewd
Kyle,
behavior.
if Kyle's listening.
Yeah.
Kyle, are you okay with her wearing that with your kids when you bring your kids to the basketball game? You're okay with that? You like her message?
He said her message is if you're happy with you, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Which is what I said, right?
Tell that
That's-
to the
that's
cat
what's-
murderer guy. You know what I mean? He was happy with him. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just say that. That's such a blanket statement. Like there's a lot of people that think that they're perfectly fine and they steal from people all the time. You know what I mean? Like,
and I don't have a problem. I'm really saying her behavior is lewd.
Right.
Like there's a time and
It
place.
is. But
and
it's lewd because of that. Like
Right.
it's not. You can't. You gotta say she's lewd because she wants to cover that stuff up. It's really the reason why she's lewd is because she's insecure.
Right.
She's insecure to see anything bad about her, so she's so loud, obnoxious, and lewd.
Yeah.
So
sometimes
she
that's
did
people's.
she did a video about that. Like she's, I'm reading all these comments, how sad she was, because people are coming at her because, she, showed her ass or whatever like that. But you're confident? No, you're not.
Right.
It's like you're hiding.
But that's what people. Yeah, that's what people do. It's like if I can go out there and show myself to be confident, then it covers up my true insecurity.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Showing I'm confident because I can shake my ass at
Right.
the game and get away with it.
It's like the dude who is always out there barking at everybody, trying to be a tough guy, but he's really scared of everyone. You know what I mean? He's really scared. No one respects him.
It's a
you know what I mean?
survival tactic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's like why are people so loud? Because they don't want. Like think about when we were young, especially dealing with really ghetto people. Like they would just yell over you and say the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And to make themselves feel they just don't want to hear anything. You know what I mean? Like they just want to stay where they're at.
Right.
You can't talk to somebody like that. Like you just gotta suck it up and shut up and.
Xavier said, "Embrace it. Who cares, man? You embrace it.
Yeah,
We are happy to let you embrace it, my
you
brother.
can embrace it.
Embrace that.
I
all
tell you
want.
what, I care, and I don't want you to embrace
Right.
it because you need to see the difference.
I care. I wouldn't want my daughter to be that unhealthy. Like,
Yeah.
That's not healthy. That's
It's not healthy. It's not healthy mentally.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
to think that way. It's not mentally healthy.
And you know what is also funny that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but a lot of these women that are on that tip, like the body positivity, I love myself the way I'm. Monique is one of them. And then when they lose weight,
we
it's-
talked about.
they turn it into this whole like
Monique,
I had to
Jennifer
care.
Hudson, Adele.
Yeah, Adele now lost weight. The
It's
chick,
about health,
who's the
guys.
big Australian chick?
Reba Wilson.
Yeah, like they turned it into this whole like.
I haven't seen her
about
skinny
my,
yet.
My health. I saw her at the Oscars. I was like,
Is that the
I
chick
didn't
from,
watch the Oscars.
The Netflix thing.
That's the
no,
chick from,
the chick from the movies that
Pitch
that
Perfect.
Neens watch.
Pitch Perfect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And she was
Wait. If Beyonce did it, it would be fine.
If Beyonce did what? Got fat and wore no clothes?
No, it wouldn't
No.
be.
I mean, I don't think it's. I don't.
Oh, he means if Beyonce wore no. Like,
no, I don't think that. I'm not
No.
for that either.
Yeah, if her butt is all. I don't want my kids to see that.
Yeah,
I don't want.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're at a
I think that's what
basketball,
that's.
family
Listen,
basketball.
people are judging this based on their own standard. It's not that. Can you replace her with a skinny girl who's showing her? Like no,
No.
that's
I wasn't
not the
paying
fact. It's the
attention.
place and time.
Yo,
I think I saw cats on
I
the-
guarantee you, if a skinny girl, especially not a celebrity, if a skinny girl, make it a skinny white girl dressed like Lizzo at the Lakers game,
It just happened.
Everyone
It
would
just
have
happened with
dragged the shit out of
a Instagram model, a white girl, streaked at the Super Bowl. She got arrested.
She got arrested.
Yeah, but
But-
she was doing it intentionally.
Right,
too,
right.
You know what I mean?
But I'm saying, like, if she wore the same outfit as Lizzo and went and twerked in front of the cameras,
Right.
dude, they would have been all over her.
Well, it's
it would have been all over her.
It's all internal because I think a lot of people look at Lizzo and they identify with it because they wish there's something about it that they wish they could do.
Right.
They could be that. I wish if I didn't care,
Right.
because it seems like Jake is saying, it seems as though she's presenting like I don't care.
I'm confident,
but it's
yeah.
really insecurity.
Right.
I'm presenting it this way to you. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like a steak on a garbage can lid. You know what I mean?
Damn.
You know what I mean?
Damn.
It's like no. Listen, that's a reference. Here it is. You want the steak, but if it's on a garbage can lid, you don't want it because it's not appealing anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is it a brand new garbage can?
And where's the steak from? Are we talking dry aged?
Did it fall on the floor?
Because I might have to give an exception.
But that's what it is. I think like this is where it is. Like men have responded so much to sexuality that's where because we have done this to ourselves. Where we man, look at that man, I tapped that over there. So excuse me. When we start responding mean to Lizzo, they're like, yeah, but you wouldn't do that if she was beautiful.
Yeah.
Because that's what men typically do. I think if men check themselves and like, no, ladies, we love you who you are,
Right.
but you don't have to do all this to get our attention.
Listen,
Right.
if people watch the podcast from last week, we made a lot of comments about Shakira and J-Lo and that whole Super Bowl halftime show. And and most of the comments were about the fact of what they were wearing and the type of like sexual stuff that's being pushed in our faces all the time as men. It had like if that was Lizzo up there, it would be the same thing.
Right.
Like it has nothing to do with the size of them and and the beauty,
Yeah.
quote unquote.
No, I'm saying historically, men have, the it has always been presented that men are, we look at that over there. So it
I know
feels
a lot of guys that do that.
it feels like we're just hating on her. Men are
Right.
just hating on her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, but it goes both ways. Like, it's just the market, and it's just exploitation in that market. Like, look, most of the stuff you go and you buy in a mall is all geared towards women. You know what I mean? Like, and sex is the one thing that is geared towards men.
Yeah.
Well, like she just said, you can see the double standards. Like, I've said this to Jamie before. Those girls who are claiming they love themselves, I love being fat, I love being me. The men that they're attracted to don't look like them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't look like them at all.
Right.
So that kind of tells a little bit about who you are.
Right.
Yeah,
that was funny about the Monique. The not only that Monique storyline in that movie was not only that the buff African prince loved
Wanted her.
but it was also that her skinny light skinned friend
who's prettier
got no play from anyone.
Right.
And even at the to the point at the end of the movie, she's stuffing her face with food because
get
she
fat.
wants to get fat now,
Right.
so she could be attractive.
and get a buff African.
Like,
It's like, this is not even real.
what are we doing? Yo, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Wake up.
But that's like been the programming since we were kids, Revenge of the Nerds, like just all these.
I also think in a sad way, not to cut you off, Jake, keep Revenge of the Nerds, but like this like dawned on me like immediately. Like I think a big part of the Lizzo attraction too, in a sad way, is women are super down to support something that they feel like I'm better than that. Like at least I'm not that. Like there's this like dark, twisty sort of
that's a good
thing
point.
that happens
that's a good
where
point.
it's like there's all these Instagram models and there's all these girls out here with the huge butts and the huge boobs and
There's someone who looks like me.
Here's someone who I don't have to meet a standard to be like
I look
that.
better than that.
She's doing her thing.
Yeah.
She says her quote in the world is I'm that bitch.
Right.
And I can rock out and not have to get my abs in shape to identify with her. You know what I'm saying? There's this like,
and I get that.
I'm not that.
I
so
get
I'm
that
good.
because it's like we're saying it's a way for people to be comfortable where they are.
Like no change.
Right.
Is
But
best.
the problem with that situation is when there's things about you that are in need of change in order to better yourself, and you find a way to make excuses not to do it because someone else look at
That's what we're always doing. And every
Right.
day we're finding ways.
We're finding ways
to be like, well, it's not okay. I don't have
right.
to fix that.
Yeah.
So
I'll
it's
go to
really
the
unhealthy.
I mean, I really can't go to the gym today because today is I got a lot to do and I got to
Right.
work.
It's raining now.
It's
Right.
raining.
And to be fair-
I don't want to catch a cold.
And to be fair, it's no different than what Flavor Flav did with Flavor of Love. None of us as black men identified with him, but people tuned in for the show.
Flavor of Love was the downfall. Like for me, that show used to make me sad inside.
But I'm saying people don't want to be like Flavor Flav, but they tune in to see the train wreck.
Because at least you're not the train wreck.
You're not the train wreck.
right,
That's
right.
you know what I mean. That's why.
Right.
What
And
were
that's
you
why,
saying?
That's why they watch Love and Hip Hop.
Exactly. That's what I
Yeah.
was just gonna say.
Yeah.
That's why they
You tune in to see it.
And I know for a fact, like I've heard people say it out of their mouth, like, yeah, I watch it because I get to judge, and it's not as bad as
Right.
my life is.
It makes me feel like, I'm
I
not
think
doing
that's
that
a big
bad.
part of it.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it.
That's
a
why
big
they
part.
watch Housewives, because then it makes them say, "Oh, they got all this money and they still act like that." Well, I'm not doing so bad, you know.
Right. It's a voyeuristic nature in us.
I got to point out something to Xavier real quick because he said go down south. Now I'm assuming he means like if we travel down south,
I'm hoping
then we'll see that
some-
people think like him.
Yeah.
And I want to point out to Xavier, who do you think's been down south more, us or you? Knowing what we do for a living and how much we travel,
We're gonna be down south.
We're gonna
this
be down
weekend.
south.
like who do you think has been down south and around the country? Like, you really want to say that, dude? Come on, man. Yeah, the Flavor of Love. Kyle said you just dropped the Flavor of Love reference. Yo, like, think about Hoops from Flavor of Love.
Yeah.
Think about a chick like that, right?
Yeah.
That show just, it made women look so desperate,
Right.
and opportunistic.
Because they were.
Yeah, that's what
Not for him, for fame.
right, for fame.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And wasn't that like kind of around the height of like the video vixen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It was
Yes.
the tail end of it.
It was
Yeah,
when that was
okay.
starting to fade out.
Yeah.
So all the girls that like got
That
into-
would have been in the video
right,
with
right.
that. Yes.
They decided that was
Right.
going to be their claim
Right.
to fame.
Right.
Yeah.
My
And-
point is that Lizzo is the train wreck that Flavor Flav was. Girls are clapping and saying, "Wow,
Good
you're so
for her.
brave."
Right.
And
I don't think anyone was clapping.
no, we were not clapping,
For
but it's
Flavor.
almost the same thing where you're tuning in to see what's next.
Yeah.
What is Flavor? You're tuning to see how crazy her outfits are going to be. Is she going to twerk at the inauguration? Are we
Right.
tuning in to see which one of these girls is going to tongue kiss Flavor Flav?
Right.
It's the same thing. You're looking for the shock value of it.
Yeah, I think women are more like attracted to the emotions of things. Men are more sexually attracted.
Yeah.
Like, so women are like, oh, like if they might think a guy's not that cute, but if
We were
they-
just talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
But if they become like, if you can get them to sympathize with you, you become a
Or
whole lot.
if you can win them over, your personality can win
Yeah.
them
Right.
over. You can gain ground with a girl.
Yeah, you
Right,
become
right.
a whole lot more attractive to
Right.
them.
And guys are like, I don't
And I'm
care.
not
how much, I don't care how much personality you get.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that all women fall
No,
for that.
No.
But that's because men. There's also another aspect too. Men have to work on you have to work on your skill to get if you're not an attractive man,
Right.
you have to work on that. You have to perfect the lines and the way you talk to them. Most girls really don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have to make the initial approach.
But they gotta work on themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Here we go.
Dropping
More.
dimes.
So here he
Dropping
goes.
dimes.
So his response is, y'all, but I heard story that guys don't mess with girls unless they're over 200, just say, down south. This is the problem
What?
with people. This is the problem, right?
I don't know.
You're trying to argue a point to us
that you heard.
from some shit that you heard from someone that you don't have no experience or know nothing about. It's like This is what people do. Like they take one little crumb of information that some random person gave them from something, anecdotal evidence, and then they try to turn it into this whole belief system that he now believes that in the South, men only date women that are over 200 pounds.
Listen, like there's different eating habits going on, and there's different lifestyles, and there's different stuff going on in the South. But even if that's the dead honest truth, 80% of the time, like I have some feelings about this. You ready? Like, does that make it like right?
Yeah.
Does that make it healthy? Does
No.
that make the fat fetish cool and like you're accepting? Like, no, you're not accepting. Instead of one woman, you want two, and you've decided to put it into one person and get your thing off. Like, that's not okay.
And that's what he has.
Right. Xavier got a fat fetish.
X has a fat fetish.
Does he?
Big girl.
I mean, you can do what you want. Like,
No, that's not the issue.
That's what
We're
saying.
talking about her
Like you.
the
Like
lewd
you.
behavior.
What I'm saying is,
I don't
don't
care.
act like it's like we're saying, like everything is like accepting. You're
Right.
not accepting.
Yeah.
Right.
You've got your own motivation.
Right.
Just like anything
And-
else.
That's all. What's happening is people are playing off of those motivations. Just like, what do women do? They put lipstick on.
Mm-hmm.
They put on high heels. These are all.
Them Asian chicks be putting on a whole nother face. we went over that last week.
They really do.
We went over that last week.
Yeah.
Don't go with it.
But they're hyping themselves up so that you can overly be what's the word?
Be overstimulated.
Overstimulated, yeah.
I'm about to say exstimulate. Overly stimulated, right? It's the same thing emotionally, like for women, to whether it's, and that's why like women can love other women if they can. I'm trying to find common ground emotionally with them. Like that's why they go so hard for like a Beyonce or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they can relate to them emotionally.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. No, I hear that. Men
men
resonate
do
with
that.
the activity.
Right.
It's the
Yeah.
sport.
Men
You know what I mean?
respect you in a way.
Yeah.
Men
Yeah.
will respect you as like someone to look up to or admire. But they,
Yeah, through
they're
the
not
physical.
Like a Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
That's why men do it with each other. Man, back in the day, I had a but. Men tell stories of
Yeah.
conquests
Right.
because they feel like
That's how they
yeah.
show.
Look up to me. I've conquered this many
Right.
women.
Right.
You know.
And if you look at like the whole feminism thing, like even though it's not like you have the extreme feminism, but it's still like
These dudes are hilarious.
there's still this feminism thing where, and again, I'm gonna go back to you go to the mall, you go most products are marketed to who?
Women.
Women.
Right.
They're the ones that are gonna buy most of the
Yeah,
stuff
they
because
buy.
emotionally that's what they'll do.
Impulsive buying.
Right.
Yeah.
So you think that everything isn't marketed the same way in social media?
Right.
It's the same thing.
Mhm.
And that's what's happening. That's what a Lizzo is.
Right.
She's just a marketing tool.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's not. It's built off of other things, but that's what
But
you
she
get.
had been out for a while doing music. She had been out for a while.
Yeah.
But she wasn't doing. She was her lyrics and stuff sort of same, but her over sexualization that's recent.
Mm-hmm.
I think she got a response for it, and you know there's a saying "hit dogs holler." So she was like, "Wait a minute,
Yeah.
I'm getting
Right.
So she's like,
That's what Colin Kaepernick did with the kneeling thing.
but that's what you get a little bit response, and you jump
And
in.
you say, wait a minute, I can get off the hook with this shit? Yeah, let me go ahead and lean into this.
Yeah, and that's what people do.
Kyle said to ease up on them Asian chicks. First of all, let me draw a line in the sand because I'm definitely talking about the Chinese and
the fair
I'm not talking about the refugee Asians,
The ones of the brown hue.
the ones that are mixed with a little bit more of the
black
tone there.
Asians.
I'm talking about the more of the northern Asians. Yeah.
Right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but what were we saying? Yeah.
Have a good night, Kyle.
All right,
Kyle.
All right, man. Good night, man. We gotta have him on one.
Yeah.
He wants to come on.
He wants to come on. So.
Please bring up the Jay-Z thing.
Yeah. He don't want to talk about it. He seen
I know
what I
he's
said.
like,
He was like, I don't know what you talking about.
What
Yeah.
you talking about?
That was funny though, because afterwards he was the one that came to me like, I get what you're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They all did at the end.
He started it though, and then it turned into a bigger conversation.
Yeah. Right.
He's the one that kind of conceded first, and then Kwame afterwards was like, I get it,
Yeah.
But at first, it was just
Dude,
the
false
idea
gods,
of
man.
you coming at their king.
You coming at their God,
You know
man.
what I mean?
You can't
It's
do
like
that.
you can't.
What did we talk about?
Especially them because they're from New York.
But we talked about this. You can't talk about the pastor to that single lady in the church.
Nope.
Pastor don't do no wrong.
Right.
How dare you?
They don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Does
Does pastor got a harem? So what? David had harems.
Yeah.
Look, I find it.
The Lord has blessed him with a high libido.
He has your daughter. And what? She was asking for it.
but what is that? That's emotionally involved.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right.
You're already. You can do whatever.
Yep.
Right.
X wants to know what's the Jay-Z thing. Should we talk about it? So, what was
2 years ago.
That was
This
that
was a
Super
year
Bowl,
ago.
right?
It was Super
It
Bowl.
was a year ago?
Super Bowl.
The last Super Bowl.
Super Bowl a year ago, and it was during the whole controversy with this halftime show and black inclusiveness, and Travis Scott was going to perform with Maroon 5, and then while the performance was happening, one of them, I think it was Kwame, was like
Kwabi.
Kwabi. I said
You
Kwame.
call him a sucker.
That's his other brother.
Oh, okay.
He's a sucker.
Kwabi was like,
Quasi, my bad.
he said something.
No, he stood up.
He stood up. It was like,
That's a
what did he
sucker.
say?
He said, "That's a
That's
sucker."
a sucker right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a sucker. And we're like, what? What are you talking about? Because he was saying he was a sucker because he went against what Jay-Z said and performed in the halftime show
For the Super Bowl.
Right.
This is during the whole
Jay-Z tried to
Colin
convince
Kaepernick.
him not to.
Didn't Jay-Z organize this year's halftime show?
Exactly.
Oh, that came out later.
That's later.
That's
Yeah,
later.
that's before.
Got it.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Right. So
So like you said, right?
Yeah.
Don't hold on too hard to your heroes.
But that's what we
Because
were.
any second,
That's what
that's
we were.
the argument.
That was the point we were
That's
trying
what
to.
the Jay-Z thing
So
was.
so the whole thing, it turned into a whole argument about.
It
was
kind of
a-
went
it's-
hard.
Jake said something extra hard. What'd you say?
I just said Jay-Z's a sucker.
Jay-Z. Yeah, you said something like that, like Jay-Z. Jay-Z's an idiot or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, something like that.
So that was just taken all wrong, and we had to have this whole conversation about how Jay-Z is not someone to look up to as a leader, because of his track record and the things that he's been about and the things that he's championed over the years.
Right.
Is not something that you should don't be fooled into thinking that this is someone that you need to listen to him, because he's basically telling Travis Scott not to do what he did.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Not to follow, but with not saying it in a way like, look, I made these mistakes. I did things. I compromised on things that should have been important to me for money, and you shouldn't take that route. He didn't do that. He just said,
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
because
You know what I
he's
mean?
still compromising for money.
Exactly.
Right.
Because come to find out that now he's organizing the halftime.
Right.
Which at that time they didn't know, but we had pointed out that Jay-Z, when the New Jersey Nets was switching to the Brooklyn Net, Jay-Z was the face. He's the owner.
Right.
He's the owner,
Right,
guys.
right, right,
Remember,
right.
Jay-Z's going to own. There's going to be jobs. There's going to
Right.
be stuff. Jay-Z's going to change everything.
Yeah.
He's going to open up. There's going to be lots of black people in the concession stands. All of that nonsense. Turns out Jay-Z only owned a very small percentage by a Russian billionaire.
Fraction of a percent.
And when the deal was done, the stadium was built, he sold it right back to him. He doesn't know anything.
Right.
He was just the face of the franchise, and that's what we're talking about. It's hypocrisy.
Right.
It wasn't so much we don't like Jay-Z. It was the hypocrisy of him. He's
Right.
telling a young man, "Don't go and make money where I make money and continue to make money."
Right.
That was the point.
Right.
They didn't see that because they just thought we were hating on Jay-Z.
Yeah.
We're hating on him.
Right.
Make your money, man,
Not
but don't
hating
tell
on
that
him.
young man, "Don't do the same thing you've done."
Right.
And you continue to do.
And I'm gonna expose, like, if you're looking up to someone like that as a hero to you, but then you don't see the hypocrisy in what he raps about and what he's feeding to the youth. Like, how can you make
And
sense of that?
That's why I said something, because it was like, this guy is standing up yelling at the TV. Nobody cares. So it's like, and he's calling Travis Scott out. I don't know Travis Scott. I'm like, dude, Jay-Z is an idiot. You're trying to defend Jay-Z?
Yeah.
Because at that time it looked like the honorable thing.
Yeah.
And only like was about a year later,
Not even.
we all were talking about this in the chat when Jay-Z sat down with Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
And his voice was cracked. It's about chances. We move on. We got to talk about actionable items.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I was like, come on, man.
It all
And
stemmed
not
from
only
the
that,
Kaepernick thing, right?
Not only that, Beyonce had performed at the halftime show like 2 years before that.
And not only that, the two girls are
Yeah, I was
saying
gonna say her
"God
artists.
Bless America"
Yeah.
was
Those are Roc Nation artists.
Yeah,
Same
where
here.
Beyonce found them.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
We were just pointing out the hypocrisy in him telling one person, don't make that money.
Right.
Because I want to
Right,
make that
right,
money. You know,
right.
I'm holding out for my negotiation.
They didn't ask me to do it, so you shouldn't do it.
That's just what it was.
But the whole thing was from they didn't stand up for Kaepernick or something like that, right? Is that what the argument was?
Because
about?
the NFL didn't stand up for Kaepernick. So black people were supposed to be boycotting the NFL.
Yeah.
Black entertainers were supposed to be boycotting the NFL. And trust me,
And that's the issue where like you start to bring in all the morality and the virtue signaling and get everybody emotionally involved,
Yeah.
and that's not what you're actually doing. Like you're not a moral leader
Right.
as much as you are an entrepreneur.
Right.
So say I'm a
And an
good
opportunistic.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
opportunistic. I know how to take money and turn it into something else. This
Right.
is how you do that. Like be the Donald Trump of the community, but
Right.
don't be like I'm on moral high ground here. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
You're
what we
gonna
were
make the same
saying.
money.
That's what we were pointing out, you know. And I think people just want to defend him because people are tethered to what Jay-Z represented for them when they were young and from the hood,
Right.
and Jay-Z kept it real, you know what I mean? And
that's what it was.
That's what it is.
He was saying that Travis Scott is a sellout. And then we were making the case that
Because
Jay-Z
he was straight up talking about money.
was
Like,
just as much of a sellout.
Yeah.
Like, and then
Yeah.
he used the line from one of the
In one of
songs.
his raps.
he used a lyric that literally
Yeah.
told him that he was a sellout.
What was the line? I used to rap like common sense, but then something, and I ain't been rapping like common
But I made
sense.
$5 million.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that, and I ain't
It was
rapping
like-
common sense.
You're literally making our case right there.
Yeah.
Because he's saying that he used to rap about things that mattered until he realized that wasn't making him money.
Right.
So now he's making money and
Oh,
he ain't
so
been
you
rapping
sold
like
out.
common sense. That's called selling out. Like,
Xavier, of course you disagree. Of course.
I don't know what you disagree with.
That's cool.
that's called selling out. Folks.
Selling out 101.
Welcome to English. But it was just funny because he literally made our case with the thing that he was trying to use as evidence.
Right.
It was like, dude, like, come on, man.
I personally, I don't care. I'm just saying, don't stand on your moral high ground preaching to other people.
yeah.
yeah.
I don't.
But
you know.
the problem with it, and the reason why black dudes, especially people like Xavier and them, they have their whole life had Jay-Z in this position of like idolatry. So you saying anything that he does wrong, they just can't
I will
agree with.
give you an example. I've known Xavier for years, and when the Blueprint 2 album came out, you know, I don't know what song it is. I think it was the beginning of the album. Throw your diamonds up in the air, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
And-
don't care if it's cold outside right
Yeah,
now.
Yeah.
Xavier did that, riding in the car. That's how much he idolized this guy. So that's why you disagree.
So wait, Blueprint 2
He said
comes
you
out.
misunderstood. What do we
Yeah,
misunderstand?
No, he about done with him.
You gotta write it. as-
I'm about done with him.
I'm misunderstood.
So let me get this straight. Xavier, young teenager, you know, at the time, Blueprint 2 comes out. He's excited. You guys are in the car, just cracked open the CD, put it in. We gonna check this out. First song comes on. Bam, 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 bam. Throw your diamonds up. And Xavier finds himself so excited that he can't help himself but to listen to the man on the CD and do what he's saying like a fucking robot. Okay.
Volume
Oh, You
3.
got it wrong.
Oh,
You're
okay.
right.
Volume 3. Even so, that means you were even older. That's worse. That's worse. That's worse. So nothing that you say about Jay-Z is going to be subjective because you're already brainwashed, bro. Like you idolize this dude. Like that's what we're getting at.
Yeah.
Like stop making these people into your heroes.
Yeah, that's the other question we asked. We said, where does Jay-Z live? He ain't from that. He hasn't lived in that neighborhood. He don't relate to you anymore. He's far removed from that place. You know, it's about, like you said, it's about opportunistic moves, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and I wouldn't have a problem if he set himself, his daughter, his family for a better life for them. You whatever. Yeah. But don't lie and tell me this is for the community or this is for it's for you. You know, that's what it is. You know, and it's the same thing. Like back to the whole Oprah thing. It's not about you. You don't care about the community. This is about setting yourself up and setting the people that you brought along, and that's what it is.
Yeah, same. I mean, Kaepernick. Like Kaepernick, he did a lot of complaining, but he did nothing for the community.
Yeah,
like in that whole thing, what did he do?
Yeah. Only thing I know that he did was he gave away suits, tailored suits that, you know, underprivileged.
Could have done that anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't. Like, there's people that are in the NFL that did more than him.
Yeah.
And actually put.
There's people that are constantly doing stuff.
Right.
Constantly working on community organizing, constantly working on how to, like Malcolm Jenkins is one of them, who's constantly working with like how to get the police and the black community to see eye to eye on things. You know what I mean?
The lady who just got released is
Nipsey Hussle was one of them.
Yeah, Nipsey Hussle is definitely one of them.
Partnering with an ex-NFL player, Alexander. What the heck is his name? He was a safety in Washington, I think. But anyway, she's partnering with him.
The whole Colin Kaepernick thing from the jump, I just didn't feel right about it. Like I felt like he was just being opportunistic. Like I saw it because I knew that his career, I saw how it was on the downward slope. I seen how he had one of his worst seasons and got benched. And then in his moment of frustration, he decides, I'm going to sit here on this bench while the national anthem is going on because I'm basically just pouting. You know what I mean? But then when the backlash came, he turns it into some type of protest. You know what I mean?
It was the Army vet who, you know, they came up after him or talked to him at some point.
Yeah.
And was like, why are you sitting?
No, but this is what I'm saying. When the backlash came from him sitting there,
right?
They said the press conference, you know, he had to come up with a reason. And the reason that he gave was, you know, I didn't feel like standing when cops are killing black people. The Army veteran talked to him later and was like, I would rather you kneel. You know what I mean?
Because they already noticed that already.
Right.
You know,
but it's all like after the fact cleanup stuff. You know what I mean? Like he was already sitting because he was just being an asshole. You know what I mean? Like and that's what people were pissed about. It was like
probably a spoiled brat.
Yeah, that's what it was. You know, because he was being benched and he was throwing a fit.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
And if it was really about Colin Kaepernick, in that meeting with Roger Goodell when they had the press conference and Charlamagne asked him about this, why didn't he go into deeper?
Right. And he never did.
No.
He never has. He's never done like I was telling you before, like if he really cared about that and if that was really a serious thing, don't you think he would have been on his Instagram like talking about it, talking to people about how serious he is about this? No. That shit was all just like
in the moment.
Don't talk about it. I'm gonna
like once removed.
Yeah,
like there's never any interviews or Breakfast Club. Or
he has no information
or,
about it. He doesn't do any interviews about it. He doesn't have any like. He's not educated on this shit. You know what I mean? Like he just turned it into that. And plus, he started dating a girl who was a straight
extremist.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think I honestly think she's the one that gave him the idea. You know what I mean? To use that as the reason.
Girl who's on USA and MTV, you know?
Yeah.
She's an extremist?
Yeah.
No, you're right, though, man. Like, Malcolm Jenkins, he was one of them that was protesting, too. You know, he had his hand up all the time, but the dude's trying to do stuff with
that
the community.
Dude is constantly
He's
doing
meeting
stuff.
with the, chief of police in Philadelphia. Yeah.
You can't just complain about stuff and then wear,
and then and make it into a Nike commercial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then that's the other thing is like when you get the payoff from the NFL, like what? We don't hear from you.
All your protests
Yeah.
fade away shortly thereafter.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you still want to work with the company that you feel is so racist. Like you still want to get a job from them,
Right.
and you're still. And then when they give you an opportunity to work out, no matter how phony it was, you still pull a stunt. You know what I mean? A publicity stunt. It's just like, come on, man. Yeah. I never bought into it because he never struck me as the type of dude that would give a shit about stuff like that. Like he was. If you've seen his posts, his Instagram posts, like with him and his shirt off and with chicks and like this everything.
And
he
a million Jordans. I remember that.
Everything that he was about.
There was a difference. Remember, we were comparing Russell Wilson's Instagram versus his.
It was
like.
Yeah, we did do that one day. We went through his Instagram and Russell Wilson's Instagram and was like, trust me. Like if Russell, that's the difference. Like if Russell came out and said some stuff like that, you would have to go back and say like, all right, let's look at his track record and what he's been about.
Right.
And Russell has done way more charity stuff.
Yeah.
Than
His
Colin
credibility.
Kaepernick. Yeah.
You're talking,
you know what I mean? It's
probably makes a lot more money though.
Well, yeah, now at this point.
Yeah.
But
Russ is about to be MVP Hall of Fame, man.
Think about it. Kaepernick, that was his second year when he went to the Super Bowl.
Second year, yeah.
It was his second year. First year he sat under Alex Smith. Second year he goes in, takes the job from him, goes to the Super Bowl.
Well, that was because Alex Smith got hurt.
He got hurt, but then they ended up giving him the job.
Yeah.
Because he was being effective. They didn't really know how to defend against him. Third year, everyone figures him out. Really not successful. They have a losing season. And then after that, didn't he like go 3-13 or some shit like that?
That's when Harbaugh left.
And then he got benched. And then that's when all this happens.
Yeah.
It's like
that's when
little convenient.
Chip Kelly was there, right?
Yeah.
He benched him for
That's
Blaine
Chip Kelly
Gabbert.
Chip Kelly did go to.
Yeah, he went to the 49ers.
Chip Kelly was such a big
bust.
Yeah. Didn't somebody else kick out for that? He would have been all over Sports Center. That's what Xavier talking about. Colin Kaepernick. Yeah, I mean, even didn't Stephen A. talk about that? How like we've been trying to get interviews with you. You don't want to do no interviews. Like
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like if you really had something to say and you really wanted to clear your name to people and show them like, yo, I care about this. They're doing me like this is not what you think it is.
Here's my message.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
Yeah.
He was hiding.
Yeah.
And that's what, Stephen A. kept calling him out for that.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you come on and talk to people?
He got some backlash, though. Stephen A. got some backlash.
Yeah,
for
because you
coming at him.
can't, because again, you can't go against the overarching, once he turned it into a black issue, he realized he had something when he went that direction with it.
Yeah.
He realized he had something. Now nobody could touch him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's when it became bigger than life.
Yeah.
And then he gets a Nike commercial, you know what I mean?
And again, why is it such a big thing? Because it's an emotional thing.
Right, exactly.
It's connected to hurt. It's connected to stuff from the past.
Right.
And that's what always gets people.
Dude, it really is. Watching that Malcolm X documentary, it shows you how real that hurt is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It shows you how, like, back in, like, they were interviewing cops that were in charge of tracking Malcolm X and tracking the nation. Like, and they talk about how they were doing shit that they shouldn't have been doing. Like, they were going outside of their job description in a lot of ways. They were stepping outside of their bounds. Cops were dirty back then. You know what I mean? Especially towards blacks. So a lot of that has carried into the emotion towards police now. You know what I mean? A lot of that is what we're dealing with now when it comes to the emotion towards police, because that was only, a
few years ago.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago. Yeah. So you're looking at like people like Colin Kaepernick are only a couple generations removed from that. Right. So it's easy for people to still feel that emotion when you talk about it.
Right.
They still think about the dogs in the civil rights movement, and they think about the fire hoses, and they think about the police beating people. You know what I mean?
And then the police haven't done a good job at punishing and chastising their own either,
or showing remorse and accountability for those days when that was going on. Like they really haven't like come out and you know.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the Rodney King thing in the 90s, it seemed like it was still, you know, going that direction. So it's all fresh to a lot of people still.
Yeah. And then you tie in the politicians who they have an agenda, so they're gonna use that for whatever platform they want to get to.
Right.
And they're gonna spin it a certain way and get you riled up. See, look at the whole Jussie Smollett thing.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris and Cory Booker went crazy.
They passed the anti-lynching bill.
Yeah.
I mean, they got what they need to get done,
right?
But they used it, and then and then the follow up would be like, so now that all this has come out, nobody followed up with them, so they just used it to get have a victory, and then
right.
There's no follow up, you know.
And so that I think that's like the overarching theme of what we're talking about is that like you get blinded when you're too emotionally
invested
or attached to something, whether it be because of hurt or whether it be just because you relate to something or because your own insecurities that you relate with somebody else because of that. Like it's put on a pedestal.
Right.
Regardless, these are the things that people can hold over you
right.
and pull your strings with.
Right.
You know.
And then you get distracted by the distractions and nothing ever really changes.
Yep.
So you have
Right.
all this Colin Kaepernick and the talk and the talk and the talk, but
Right.
like are any like Philadelphia police officers changing their opinions
Right.
about how they interact with the community and
No.
maybe
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
I think,
like giving
I
some
think
extra
what it does
thought
more
to
is
things.
it pushes people into their teams.
Their
you know
boxes.
what I mean?
Get
Yeah.
in your box.
And it divides even more, and that's what we're dealing with now in the country. Where it's like,
Right.
you know, we're establishing whose side are you on. You know what I mean?
Right.
And-
But this has been going on for so long.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's death. Like that's literally like you taking that, going back to the garden. You know, you taking that fruit and eating that fruit, and that's the state you're in.
Right.
You know, thinking you have the ability to judge because of the way you feel.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just staying in that state because of your own experiences in this life and insecurities that you can. It's okay for you to stay there, and it isn't that
it's a little comfortable prison.
Yeah,
you know, like it's
is.
really
Yeah.
comfy with padded walls, and you
right.
got all your food and
It's
water.
a Martha Stewart.
You don't have to change, but it's a prison.
And that's what everybody's saying.
Yeah.
You don't have to change. Be who you are. You know, stay in bondage. Stay
Right.
in your prison.
Right.
It's comfortable. You know it.
Right.
Realize your victimhood in any way you can. Like,
Someone did this to you.
right, right. Stay there. Identify
How dare
with it.
they?
Live with diabetes.
Find your intersectionality. You're a woman, and you're black, and you're gay, and you're disabled.
And
no
you're
one
transgender,
can. No,
and you're a guinea pig,
right.
And you have a penis.
No one can ever tell you anything. You know?
Or as the famous Satanist once said, "Do what thou wilt."
Yeah.
But they never tell you what wilt is gonna.
And who wore a shirt with that on it? Jay-Z.
But and then you think like that's why because people like, you know, when Jesus says like if somebody slaps you, you know, turn the cheek, let them slap you, like.
Another thing Malcolm X was up there preaching about. Boy, yo, that dude could preach, boy.
Yeah, he got it.
He
His
up
dad
there.
was a preacher.
But you see, like Malcolm X, what did he preach on? He kept you in your emotions.
Right.
He kept a hold of those emotions.
And he used the hurts.
Right.
He used all of
those
the things that you were connected to.
And I don't think he did it on like.
No, he believed it.
Yeah, right.
But he
believed
wasn't
it.
lying.
No,
he just
wasn't
used
lying.
he used it to rile you up too.
But it was just funny because I specifically remember him saying that, like, the white man wants you to turn the other cheek because their God tells you to turn the other cheek, but they don't turn the other cheek.
Which is true.
Yeah, right.
Which is true.
Right.
But that's the thing. It's about you have to let it go.
Right.
You know what I mean? The hard thing is letting it go.
Right.
That's a song we wrote.
Yep.
The hard thing.
That's the
Y'all need
strongest
me on
thing,
this one?
actually. Like, it's very easy to, like,
Yeah.
fight. It's very easy to go back and forth, and you say your thing, and I say my thing, and you say your thing, and I say my thing. It takes so much to say. Yeah. I'm gonna. I'm gonna not yell.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like the it's like the Lizzo thing. Yeah. Is it more strong to just keep eating cheeseburgers and watching movies all day? Right. Or is it more strong to get your ass up and start doing some which one is harder to do?
Right. Abandon your pasta and get
and it's like I think it's being able to like whatever the moment is, seeing beyond that particular moment. I remember I was a kid and we were at a festival and a guy who robbed us pushed my dad. He committed another robbery and he pushed my dad down. He was running. Yeah. Pushed my dad down.
Where was this?
In Trinidad.
Oh, okay.
And I remember as a kid, I was so mad. I was like, I wanted my dad to beat up this guy. I was like, wait, in my mind, I'm like, this is your opportunity to kill him. Beat him up because he stole one of my goats and ate it. And I hated this man.
What was the goat's name?
I don't remember the name. But she was a lovely goat.
She was a goat.
And he ate it and he taunted us.
Third world childhood problem.
That's right. This is my third world childhood.
You stole my goat.
You stole my goat. I want to kill you.
Yeah.
But it's funny, like I revisited that recently. Like now that I have a daughter, I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, what did I want him to do with the 4 kids? He has me, my 3 sisters.
He goes to jail. Now what do y'all
Or this guy pushes him, he smashes his head.
Right.
Now, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, I didn't think that out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
As a kid, or sometimes in our naivete, we'll look at it like
I wanted revenge.
A weakness. You look at it as a weakness.
Yeah.
You're soft. You're scared.
Yeah. And I thought to myself, I was like, man, if I was that big and strong, I would kill him.
Right.
I wanted to kill him because of what he did to me. But I never thought, yeah, but what would my dad do with my little 5-year-old sister?
Right.
Like, hold that baby. Let me go kill this guy.
Right.
You know, I didn't put it all together because I was in my emotions. And now that I have a daughter, because I remember talking to Dylan, we were talking about, yeah, man, what if something happens in the revolution and this and that? We're just having a hypothetical, like, are people prepared to do what they need to do? And I was like, what am I talking about? I was like, first of all, what would I do with Sophia?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know?
You just could.
And there are things that are way more important than ego and pride.
That's what it is.
Right.
I think if we all settle down, and like I said, in that moment, I wanted revenge. I think if you could just slow down a little bit and look at it.
We talked about it. It's funny. Eddie Bravo was on Joe Rogan talking about how he was
how do liberals change?
He was like, I never understood conservative views until I had kids.
Until you have kids, man.
And now all of a sudden I get it. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's like,
and I think that's the key is like people. It's easy to stay divided when you don't go to the other side.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of people, they just stay on their side.
Right.
But it's like, if you venture over a little bit, you'll start to realize, oh, they're kind of like me.
Right.
Might be, there's similarities. You know what I mean?
And it's when you make good choices. If you do the right thing, if you make good choices, it's going to play out and reflect in your life. You know what I mean? There's reward that comes with that. You want to have sex, get married, be responsible. Why? Because the alternative. What's the alternative?
Right.
Child support, court, all
emotional
issues, the STDs,
spiritual ties.
Your baby's mama picked a boyfriend that abuses your kid. There's a lot of other factors.
Right.
Sure, you can live with it, but it's a hell of an adjustment. Or you can't. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of things that we don't sit down and break that down. And then I think in that, it forms bitterness in people.
It does.
You know? And they want to attack because they feel like, well, you had it better than me. You know?
But even just being truly vulnerable, where the stuff we do that we don't do right. Just, you know what I mean? The stuff when we make mistakes.
Yeah.
Right.
Like apologizing or just like we can't keep pointing at somebody else and picking somebody else apart.
Right.
And we all have issues and they're not easy to get over.
No.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's the key right there. It's like even though you are doing the right thing, don't go throwing stones at somebody. Don't tear them down. But you definitely could talk to them.
But you're not doing the right thing completely. You know what I mean? Like everybody has weaknesses.
Right.
So if
We're all trying to
if you're so busy pointing out somebody else's weaknesses, you're not
but
won't
then
see your own.
There's an alternative. You could do that, but when you stumble,
right,
Well, you better hope they're not looking,
Right.
and that's what happens. You gotta be really walking circumspect to make sure that you do not stumble. And I think that's why people love getting pastors and political leaders, because when they do stumble,
Right.
That's the key. Like, that's the key. That's why we need Jesus. That's why we need a savior, because then we don't have to try to not stumble. You know what I mean? We can just literally be. It's freeing, right? To not like, oh, I'm doing all this, so I got to make sure my stuff is all in order. That's not what we should be doing. But we feel like that because we're looking at it from a judgmental state that we're in already.
And we're already thinking about how others are viewing us and like how we judge them, and we don't want to be judged that way. So it's this whole dynamic.
We're Eve. We still eating that fruit. Like,
Right.
that tree,
Right.
that fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Which
that's
is all
real.
menial in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like us like judging each other's tiny sins while everyone is like FUCKED.
right?
For all intents
I
and
love
purposes.
you spelled it out.
I'm not gonna say it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's so silly.
We know how you talk when the cameras aren't on.
Just gotta put her out there. Huh?
Right. Jamie's his secrets. Say nothing. He remembers too.
This is real live radio, okay?
Hey, it's all good.
2040, he'd be like, "Yeah, remember that night you had on the black turtleneck? And you looked up the Lizzo thing."
Can we talk about how Rachel is bringing the turtleneck out though? Like,
I've been on my turtleneck Johnny Cash game. It's a uniform. You don't have to try too hard.
the
You just wake up,
turtleneck game
throw on
is
your turtleneck,
serious, bro. Like
and
you
you ready to go.
I haven't seen a turtleneck in years.
I saw one last night.
Oh yeah,
dude. For some reason,
You said it like it's a rare animal.
because it was because
My wife always
I
wears
even
it.
talked to Leslie about this. Never watch what was it, America Got Talent?
Yeah.
Is that the thing? Yeah. This guy, who's the Terry Crews.
Terry, can we talk about that situation?
wait.
No, I'm gonna let you, but that's a perfect segue.
But yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
He had on a shiny, like glittery turtleneck under a suit. Like, it was the weirdest thing.
That's yeah.
And I just heard he was talking about how they pick out his clothes.
Wow.
And he was like kind of upset about it, but then he was like, you know what? It's not my show. Like, he was talking about this on the radio. It's not my show, so. But so it was just funny because.
But how do you have no say over what you put on your body though?
But listen, so then all of a sudden I watch it and I'm like, so that's what they're putting on?
Yeah. Bro, you was
Is that
hyped.
it in the purple?
You was hyped to wear
The
that
shiny
turtleneck.
black all the way on the right?
No.
No?
Put finale. Terry
Okay.
Crews, because I think it was the finale. Yeah.
He wanted to wear. He saw that turtleneck. He said,
I'm gonna
"Give
kill
me
it."
that
And
shiny."
He got a little heat for it. He was like, "Oh, they made me do it."
Right? He tried to turn it around. Can you imagine? I could just picture it now. Terry Crews popping his chest muscles as he walked into the dressing room. About to get
Ooh, that's
dressed.
it. Ooh.
About to get dressed. And then he looked at all the outfits and he said, "Give me that shiny. Give me that shiny.
We have a Brooks Brothers,
find it.
and we also have this pimp shit.
Give me the pimp shit." Yeah, come on. Terry Crews has been known to wear
go on, man.
some ridiculous stuff.
Cut it out. Yeah, he loves attention. He's a ham.
Yeah,
He tries to pretend, you know.
yeah. But what we were gonna say about the Gabrielle Union thing. Did you guys hear about that?
And Dwayne Wade.
Yes.
Dwayne Wade,
No,
their
Real Union.
kid.
no, with Terry Crews.
No.
No.
The whole thing about
Ruh-roh.
well, during the whole Me Too thing, Terry Crews was like the spokesperson for the male
male
side of
side.
things,
Yeah.
which always kind of struck me as weird. All the muscles and you let some dude grab you up like that. You know what I mean? But
Hey, man, he was being passive.
yeah, maybe he was being the bigger man. See, he was just like your dad, But
I think even my dad draw a line. You may push me down and eat my goat.
But again, it was
You shall not
it
touch.
was someone that was the head of the agency that he worked with,
Of course.
that was getting him work. So, he had to play ball a little bit.
Right.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
What is this? The article?
Yeah. Basically, yeah, just like summarizing the tweets and apparently saying that he never had any bad experience on America's Got Talent.
So what happened was Gabrielle Union had his back during that whole thing. She was one of the people championing him as like, you know,
Brave.
the Me Too thing. He's brave for coming out and saying it and blah, blah, blah. So then this whole thing happens with her working on America's Got Talent. And the fact that she didn't like the working conditions there, she felt like there was like some racist undertones happening there. Something happened with Jay Leno said something racist one time, made a racist Asian joke or something. And so when she came out about it, he totally just like kicked her back in and was like, "Oh, I've never experienced that. It's one of the most diverse shows I've ever seen." You know what I mean? So a lot of people are now like, you know, Black Twitter are dragging him now because he didn't defend one of the women. You know what I mean? So he was a hero for a second, but now all of a sudden he's...
Yeah, the most diverse place I've ever been in my 20 years of entertainment. And then days later, Cruz posted a since-deleted tweet about his wife saying she was the only one woman on earth he had to please.
Yeah, that was the weird...
He threw an extra dig. He was like, also...
Yeah, but
I don't care.
But he also threw it in like, I don't need to please my mother or my daughters.
Oh, dang.
It was weird. Like, what are you talking about?
And then, as we've seen in the rest of this podcast, I hear you. I respect you. I understand you. I am sorry. I am here to support you. These are the follow-up tweets at the end.
Right.
Sorry for my own personal point of view without first taking into consideration someone else's experience.
Yep.
He
That's
got the
what
call,
happens.
too.
He got the call.
You want your job?
Yeah. It's
backpedal.
It's crazy, man. People need to just stay off Twitter.
Yeah, stay off Twitter.
Just stop with Twitter, man.
I'm glad I don't
Enough is enough.
Except for our president. His tweets are funny.
He's still there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's over the top.
But Twitter is the stomping ground. Like, how would anyone get into any drama or get in trouble if it weren't for Twitter?
Yeah. Look at Kevin Hart. That's that joke from Dave Chappelle. He said Kevin Hart was
2 tweets.
4 tweets.
4 tweets of being
or something
perfect.
like that, right? 4 tweets from being perfect. Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, Twitter, it's all words, so you can't really get context.
Yeah.
So however it's read, that's what it is.
Yep.
You know
Except
what I
for
mean?
Snoop Dogg's video.
Yeah.
We gonna come get you.
Right. Well, even he had
You
the backpedal.
bitch. Did he call her like a nappy headed hoe or something?
No, he said like dog-faced.
Dog
He said
bitch.
something about her head though. He said something about her head.
Bitch.
Dog headed. And he did say hoe in there.
We can play it back. Play it back.
He said something about
With
that.
his
He gave up that fight quick.
what's up with the head thing, man? He had a different color.
He must have just got his hair
Right.
straightened or something.
Snoop
You know what I
Doggy
mean?
Doug, Snoop Scrappy Doo.
His second video was a different color, so
Yeah.
that's his thing.
He must have got his hair straightened, so he was trying to keep it nice.
He's a grandfather now too. I heard he just lost a kid, a grandson.
He lost the grandkid?
Sorry, dog head bitch.
I told you he said something about her head. Dog-headed bitch. What does that even mean?
Damn.
It's a terrible insult.
He means her wig.
Conglomeration
He
of
means the
insults.
smell of the wig.
The smell of the
You
wig.
know, it's synthetic.
Oh.
Is that what he means?
Is that what he means?
I just
White
took
person's hair.
and he
You
trying
know,
to say she's
stereotypes.
ugly.
He just ain't had nothing else to come up with.
Yeah. And he wanted to throw dog in there because he's Snoop Dogg. It's branding. You know what I'm saying? That was branding.
I meant me.
It's good marketing. It's good advertisement.
Oh, man. Anything else y'all want to touch on before we get out of here?
I was trying to find this turtleneck.
Yo,
I don't want to talk about
Yo,
secret societies.
Rachel is really...
Nita's been wearing turtlenecks for like a year now.
Oh,
I see it all the
Rach?
time.
You ain't you slow on the game.
No, I've been on my turtleneck game. Come
But
on
you,
now.
you
Not
got the
summertime.
It's
Not
the Steve.
summertime
You
now.
doing the Steve Jobs right now?
It looks
though.
good on women though to me.
That's true.
No, not the
it's
Steve
different.
Jobs. What's the lady? Elizabeth
Oh,
Holmes.
Elizabeth Holmes.
She's doing the Elizabeth Holmes.
Well, we talked about her before. Yeah, bring that up. Bring her up. Yes, this is you right now. What's the name of that company?
Oh,
Theranos.
Theranos. Oh boy, look at this guy.
Theranos.
What's that?
That's his shiny. That's his.
Oh,
shirt.
Stan.
Is he wearing the Night of the Roxbury suit?
Can't really see it.
Yeah.
You ain't see
What
it.
is love?
Baby, don't hurt me. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You see it?
that is.
She's got the crazy
Oh, this-
eyes. See, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Oh snap!
Have we ever showed a clip of her talking?
Yeah, we went
Yeah,
over
we
it.
did.
Yo.
That deep.
Isn't that funny though?
This
Like
is
how
really
down to the
genius.
Steve Jobs persona, like she took it.
She
Like
straight
I'm
up
gonna put on
robbed
this
it.
black
Yeah.
turtleneck, and they're gonna believe me.
But they
Scientific.
did.
They
They
did.
did.
ran
They
with
all
it.
did.
And not just regular people.
Yeah.
Supposedly
Money.
geniuses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Financial gurus,
Yeah.
all kind of people invested in
Yeah.
her. It all because
But Bill Clinton is the best. Y'all say we don't have geniuses.
Yeah.
Tell them how old you are.
yeah,
I like the age.
Right. It was like, now meet me in the back later.
Look right here.
Yeah.
You're not looking.
But the best was when they were interviewing her and they asked her, see if you go, I just want to see this.
Her
just
giggle?
for our- no. When they asked her, what does the technology do?
Oh God.
And she couldn't do Yo, that was.
I love her. Yeah, her voice.
hilarious.
One of the guys recorded her in her natural voice.
Yeah.
She got excited.
Yeah.
And she broke character for a second.
Yeah. And the deep voice went away real quick. Yeah, but that was funny. Like, they asked her, like.
This is what happens when you work to change
Oh my
things.
God.
And first they think you're crazy, then they fight you, and then all of a sudden you change the world. And I have to say.
That fake too?
According to my sources, it was.
All right, I'm trying to get a real voice, but it's one of those videos where it's
Yeah.
not easy.
And it's funny because
You can tell that voice is fake.
But the best part is Nora O'Donnell. They like a few months earlier they championed her.
Yeah, they loved her. She was on the cover of Forbes.
Yeah, man.
Yo, everyone ran with that story because it just it was like the
perfect storm,
female tech tech
Right,
tech genius.
Right.
Finally, we have a female.
Right. Which that guy from Google who exposed Google was saying that they're trying to push women.
Right.
But there's not really a lot of women in the tech.
The dude, what's his name? James.
Yep.
No. He was he worked at Google and he wrote this. Google actually put out this thing saying like we need more women in tech, and he wrote this response explaining why.
Right.
And about women's choices, the choices that they make, and then he got fired.
Which made
because of
sense. Like he wasn't lying about
No,
it. It's all
he
proven.
did it with research.
Yeah.
And then they fired him because they said that it was like a misogynist paper. I
And
forget
she
his name.
was like the part of the rebuttal.
Yeah.
Was like, well, then how do you explain her?
Yeah. Yo.
She was lying.
Yeah. She tricked everyone. Like she had, but that's a perfect example when people say like, how could someone pull off, they talk about conspiracies. How could someone pull that off? There's multiple people working for the company and blah. She had multiple people working for her. Multiple people. She had tons of employees. One of them was one of the investors' grandkids or something, right?
Right. Yeah.
And-
He was one of the people who questioned it. Too.
Yeah.
He went to him.
Right.
He was a former general or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Flagged.
And what you do is you just compartmentalize everything so much, and you don't let them communicate because you make it part of the protocol. Like, oh, this is top secret.
Right.
You can't talk to each other about this.
Yeah. They feel special.
Yeah.
And then if it ever gets exposed, the people are so embarrassed that they got tricked. They don't want to talk about this.
They don't want to talk about it because then they look dumb.
Right.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton, what do you think?
And at some point, you're probably complicit at that point.
Yeah.
To some
of
you know
them
what I'm
were
saying? Like
because
something
they
bad.
knew they were faking data. They knew that like the technology that they were saying. So like people would come in to do testing with the like blood tests to find how many how many tests they could do with one drop of blood.
Yeah.
And they would do these tests and then they would take all of the investors out of the room and like distract them while they did the
Nothing
test
to
the
see
old
here.
fashioned way. And then they would bring them back.
It'd be funny if like they
was
had
like-
the Men in Black stick. All right this way. But it was actually a doctor, a woman who got the first test. The doctor was like, "This don't look right."
Yeah.
And he had it retested, and they were like, "This is not right." He pushed it,
Right.
You know.
It's such an interesting story, man. And the funny thing is, a lot of people don't even know.
Oh no.
Who Elizabeth Holmes is?
No,
they don't know
no.
about.
It wasn't the
Theranos.
news, but very,
Yeah.
I'm surprised. HBO actually did a documentary about it, but I don't think it stayed up there for too long.
It was, and there was also a 60 Minutes episode about
Right,
it.
right.
And I remember watching that. But the thing is, like, leading up to it, she was everywhere. She was on everything.
A lot of people were tricked, man.
And then after it got exposed, no one talked about it.
They're like, well,
Yeah,
that's over.
because they're all embarrassed.
About that Kobe rape thing.
Can you tell us? Maybe you didn't see it happen, but
How many Siemens in his...
I think just love saying that word.
Gail was like interrogating Lisa Leslie, like, "Are you sure he didn't pull out his penis at any time around you?
Was there any semen involved?
How many white fishes did he bring around you?" Like,
As a woman and as a black woman, how do you feel about him dating that Mexican?
now we know he wasn't attracted to you, but did he have white groupies around at all times?
Not saying nothing. Snoop, that dog in it deep.
Gail's like, "Don't worry, guys, turn the cameras off. Tell me now." Lisa Leslie's like, "Bitch, what are you doing?"
Right? She tried. She's like, I think we should leave it right there.
What's R. Kelly's real name when he starts going crazy?
Robert.
And she's
Yeah.
like, Robert.
He gets up.
Robert.
Right.
Yo, that was,
Now
that was
him,
another
we
thing.
ain't
That was
defending that.
ill. But even that was so staged. Like the way he got up. I'm fighting for my life.
fighting for my life.
But listen, that was that I think that helped pushed her into where she thinks she's gonna get.
Yeah,
She
right.
really thought like I'm some like who is like really is Gayle King really some investigative journalist?
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That was her. I step
Barbara
in the
Walters
ring
moment.
now.
That was
yeah,
it.
I'm in here.
Yeah, let me show y'all how I do this.
That was it.
You know what I mean?
Because
I'm gonna pull it from Lisa.
she got so much pats on the back, so she's like, well, where's
Yep.
the other black guy at? Him?
Right. Yeah.
She was getting them.
Yeah.
That was her moment, man.
She was trying to get it.
And now she want to blame CBS.
Yeah.
You know.
Gail, Harvey's down the hall. He's raping somebody. Harvey.
Snoop Dogg.
Rings a bell. Doesn't
Snoop Dogg is the best thing that could happen to her.
Oh, of course it is.
That's what we were saying. Like what he did was totally distract from.
Which is what we were saying about rappers.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, she's a victim.
They put they because they try to bring the street into it, and then they totally divert all the attention from what it is
Right.
supposed to be.
But he wasn't street after that
No,
second
no,
video.
no.
Because the
That's
street
not how
don't-
my mama raised me.
Because the street don't work in the street.
Right?
Yeah.
That bank account. The
Listen,
street.
but let all these dummies keep following T.I. and thinking he's some intellectual.
But that's
you know
the
what I mean?
point.
He's
Yo,
Oswald Bates.
Oh man.
He is Oswald Bates.
If the street was that great, then why y'all trying to leave?
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, I was watching an interview with you know, of course I've watched the interviews with Freeway Ricky, the real Freeway.
The real Freeway.
Yeah. And him and the dude Keefe D, who's another like big time drug dealer in California, one of the Crips, high up Crips. They all talk about how like the street. Remember, I was telling you how he said like Compton was a nice neighborhood at first.
Yeah.
But he said like the element of like the street hustle was never supposed to be like a lifestyle. It was like something that you did so that you could make enough money to get out of it. You know what I mean?
Like stripping.
Right. I'm just doing this to pay my college off, and then I'm gonna get a legit job. Yeah.
So it's a seduction that leads you into something that you didn't really think you was gonna have to.
No, but the point I'm making is that like now it's been glorified into this like dudes that like even Keefe D said it in the interview, like when they looked at rappers that would get famous, like Suge Knight, for example. Suge Knight was a college kid. Like he wasn't in the streets. Suge Knight was an educated guy who got money in the music business. He grew up rich, and then now he wants to be a gangster, and now he wants to be a street dude. And he was like, that didn't make no sense to us.
Right.
Like you doing this shit backwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's what you see a lot of these younger people because it got so glorified to them that now they feel like they need to step into that to be legitimized or respected. So you
need your street cred.
Right, exactly. So if you blow up without the street cred, now all of a sudden you gotta go get it somehow, and then you're just totally, doing things backwards.
Right. Which was pushed by record executives, and it created that atmosphere. Because when I was growing up in Voorhees, these kids weren't no gangster kids.
Yeah.
But they were all faking it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Same thing in Williamstown. Where's
Yeah.
Xavier at? Is he still watching?
Yeah.
A lot of your friends.
A lot
We
of
know-
our friends too.
None of my friends.
Well, acquaintances.
Who?
Dude,
Explain to me.
can we go down the list of how many people went to jail?
No, I know them. Oh, Lee. I'll give you Lee. Lee was one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot he went to jail.
What's his, well, I wouldn't say over drugs, but still over dumb stuff. The guy who was in our car, what's his name? Chauncey.
Chauncey.
Well, yeah.
Boy, he robbed the KFC.
Chauncey?
Yeah.
Chauncey. He robbed the KFC.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember these guys' names, but there was a few
Was
others.
it the one Moan worked at?
Yeah. We both
Wait,
worked.
really?
We both worked there.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Moan didn't handle any breast that night.
Were you
Not
there
that
when
night.
they?
Not that night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Mon was there.
I was there.
Why you look like that, dude?
Because I don't know what went on
that
with
could
it.
be that could be anyone.
Years later, 30 minutes later, Moan was in the back room.
One got locked in the freezer.
Yep.
Yeah. That was a
Doing
crazy
that robbery.
That was a crazy night. Look, Rachel's like, "What?"
You tell.
Yo, but didn't
You'll
you
find
know?
out
Did you know it was him when it was happening, but you just didn't say nothing, or did you not know?
Moon's like, I plead the fifth.
Come on, man.
No,
I don't
no.
know nothing.
Account
I can
number
tell it was
518.
somebody.
But did you know it was him though? You said you just thought like, I know who this. Like I know this person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He used to work there,
But
right?
he worked there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is stupid.
It's our job.
So you know what's funny is like the person that got him in trouble because that's what he went to jail for. Like you're not
Yeah.
incriminating him. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Was
So-
it
Yeah, because didn't
got locked
how do
up.
I know the story better than
because you have an elephant's memory?
Moan don't remember nothing.
you? Didn't what's his name? Pat's brother.
Chris Brown.
Yeah, he took his mask off, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
So
What the hell?
No, this was the. I think that
The
was
worst
the
robbery.
that was the second time.
second time. Yeah.
That was the second
That's
time.
how everybody knew it was.
Okay.
it was
Two
him.
times?
Yeah,
Two times?
two
So
times.
you
But-
held up the KFC?
2 times.
But no, he was in trouble for like check fraud.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I was talking about the second time. I don't know. See, you're talking about something. I'm talking about the second time when his mask got taken off, so it was clear that it was him.
So there was a tussle?
So one of the employees was brothers with the manager, who he was kind of special a little
Yeah,
bit.
he was-
You know
uh,
how you
he
got
was
that-
autistic.
You know what they talk about that slow strength.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like,
Give me that mask.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, he was husky.
So he just went at him and took his mask off.
What?
Yeah.
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 Brave.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And what did he do when that happened?
I don't really remember it. I
was
think
like,
he tried to. I think he tried to laugh it off.
He tried to laugh. Oh, I was just joking, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all thought I was serious.
But there were guns and things involved, like
Yeah.
weapons.
Yeah.
Yo, so he's like, he comes in, he sticks up the place. He's like, everybody get in the fucking freezer right now. Give me all the money, blah, blah, blah. And then y'all
Officer
get,
Doofy
wait,
got
wait,
him.
wait. So y'all get in the freezer. Was Pat there?
The freezer was the first time.
Okay.
Dude, it's a blurb.
How do you, a blurb?
Yeah, it's a blurb.
Mo was out of the drive-through window, like, yeah, nah, girl.
That's what happened.
Probably.
That's what happened.
Probably.
Moon was back in the stock room doing something he shouldn't have been doing. When all
Whose
that
cabbage
happened.
is this?
Moon was already in the freezer.
That was so long ago.
What's up, Junior? I want to say what's up to Junior. I want to say happy birthday to my brother. Just turned 40
Happy birthday.
a couple of days ago.
You made it, man. New decade.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, so you don't remember the story
I remember going in the freezer
the first time.
the first time.
But I'm talking about
And
the
then-
time when Chris took his mask off.
Yeah, I remember that. He came out of the
He came in through the drive-through, right?
the drive-through window.
Yeah.
And then Chris was like, "Oh hell no!"
So he just
No,
charged at him.
He charged at him. Mask came off, and I just remember him like
Yo.
try.
Yo,
try
crazy,
to laugh it off.
yo. You
And that
thought I was
it.
serious?
Yeah.
Did he walk out? Did he walk out?
I don't even remember if
how it resolved.
Yeah.
I don't.
This is why I have to tell all your stories.
Yeah.
He started dancing.
They call the cops? They call the cops?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. So
You
he
don't
must have-
remember if the cops were called?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
I really don't. I'll be lying to you if I said.
You thought I was. But okay, so let's talk about it. So we know Lee got in trouble. They were using his house for, nefarious activities.
Drugs.
And wasn't Kyron involved with that?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Lee.
Wasn't
What
Kyron involved
happened?
with that?
Yeah.
Was Dre involved with that?
Not Dre Stewart.
Okay.
I think there was another.
I'm just naming names up.
Yeah, right?
No,
Like, I'm
right?
not
Like,
feeling.
damn. His last name, Stan.
I'm not feeling good about
What about
this.
Pookie Johnson?
Well, I'm saying it wasn't.
This was, bro, you talking about 20 years ago.
He might be on the podcast. Man, this brother naming me.
Cold case mop.
You talking about 20 years ago,
Nah,
man.
it wasn't.
AKA doing dumb shit.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
point
young.
is, these dudes, like, a lot of these guys came from nice neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
they
what I
weren't
mean?
really about it. They were just, yeah.
It was just the influence of the
No
culture.
doubt, no doubt, no
music,
doubt.
yeah.
I mean, it's a proven fact that you
We went all the way around the world.
Yeah, right.
For that.
Well, because made me think about the KFC thing, and then that was a funny story, but he couldn't tell it. So
You got the gist of it.
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's
You got the blurb of it.
the blurb.
You know what I'm saying?
It's all a blurb.
Yeah, but we definitely did grow up in that glorified era of,
Yeah,
hood
Right.
and
right.
gangster and,
Yeah.
50 Cent was right after that.
That was after, yeah. But you had
yeah,
Mobb
right
Deep,
after,
you
yeah.
had, Jay-Z, you had Biggie.
The
Biggie
Lox.
was part of it, the Locks,
Tupac.
yeah,
That was all
DMX.
doing it.
yeah,
Well,
DMX, yeah, all of that.
It's
So
the era, yeah. It was. It was.
And when you grow up in an environment where all the girls are like swooning over these guys,
Yeah.
you see it affecting,
Right.
people. And
It just reminds me of the story. You said he looked like DMX.
That did happen. He needed a ride.
tell that story. Tell that story.
My buddy, my partner, he became friends with me, but I didn't realize he just needed a ride to get from one place to. But he would hype me up, And one day we're hanging out. Well, he asked me. He was actually living right down the street from me. He said, "Hey man, you want to hang out, man? I got these two girls." I was like, "All right." And while he had a cell phone too, and while on the phone, he said, "Yeah, he looks like DMX." And I'm looking at him. And I remember we pull up, and this girl's like, he don't look like no damn DMX.
Rachel, pull up the picture of Russell Wilson with his hair straightened.
Oh man.
So your boy was trying to sell.
And he's like, nah, he's
So
cool,
he's
yo,
like,
he
"Nah."
cool.
Your boy's trying to sell these girls because he know she got a friend with her, right?
Yeah, that's his girl. That's the way he's trying to
His
bag.
girl- right? But he's got a girl with her.
Because she asked him, she said, because I can hear it. She's like, I'm with my girl. You got a homeboy, you got a boy. So he was like, yeah. Cotton Dockers.
You know what's funny is I would love to ask these girls because there was a lot of girls in high school that were like obsessed.
I
with
saw that
DMX.
girl later on in life.
You should have asked her like, "What do you think of DMX now?"
Right?
So James showed up looking like this.
Straight hair.
So James showed up looking like that.
Tuxedo.
And she wanted, "Where my dogs at?"
Hi.
Hello, my name is
Hi.
James.
Hi.
Shirt tucked in.
That happened to me on multiple occasions with hood girls.
Man.
Because I knew what I like. I didn't like hood girls, but I always thought like, hey, be nice or whatever it is. But I didn't realize that, like Patrice O'Neal said, like once these girls see a little blood, they want to destroy you. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
right.
if they see you flinch,
I was talking to
you're done.
James about that earlier because there's a strategy involved sometimes with taming that energy of like the
hood chick.
The hood chick back in the day.
Oh, making fun of him.
Right. You have to know how to like. You have to know how to
you
like.
didn't know that trick?
I didn't grow up here.
So
know that.
for James, he was just like run away from that. Like he didn't know that you gotta like. You got to beat them
It's
at
mental
that
judo.
game.
It's mental judo.
it is.
You can't be nice.
Right, and
You
that's
can't be
what
nice.
Patrice O'Neal talked about that a lot. That's
Right,
why I
right.
used to laugh at his
Right.
jokes about, he would say he's a bear hunter because black women are like hunting bears. You know what I mean? Like he would say like when he would talk to them, the first thing he would do is
insult them.
walk up to them and insult them. You know what I mean? Because that's how he would get them to like basically lower their guard. You know what I mean?
And that all came from pimp culture. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean, obviously, I came from a total different country, different
Right.
environment.
It ain't-
I wasn't taught that.
James was like, I'm gonna tuck my shirt in.
Right.
I'm gonna show her. I'm gonna meet her mother and tell her I'm a
I would say
guy.
I would say the opposite though. I would say pimp culture came from that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. But imagine you walked into the room like with your boy. You walked up. And
The
you walked-
moms would love me.
I know, but I'm saying like, imagine you walked up to the girl and you were like, her. She all right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she immediately, it would have flipped the tables.
It would-
on her.
it would have, it
And
would
she
have.
probably would have been like, well, why doesn't he like me? You know what I mean? And then all
But
of
you
a
see,
sudden,
I'm so glad that I didn't learn to conquer those kind of girls.
Right,
Because
right.
I would have had a kid with one of those girls, and I would have been. You know what I mean? Because there was two things I could have do. I could have run home and be like, tattoos, earrings, cornrows, big t-shirts. You like me now? But I was like, F you. After that, I was like, it happened a couple of times.
Right.
But I just realized that that's not the kind of girl I was attracted to.
right.
And the energy.
It's funny how you just described Moan, like that whole Moan from 2001.
I was wait. In two sides of the town, Moan was putting on his cornrows, and I was putting on a bow tie. Screw you, bitch. No, I just, it wasn't my. I realized that they weren't attracted to me, and I wasn't attracted to them. But what I did realize, is years later, running into those girls,
and seeing the choices they
seeing
made.
the choices they make, and their head hung low. It's
right.
But
Yo, Kyle is back, and he said,
Kyle is back.
I was too black for white chicks and too white for black chicks. James just had no game. So he feels you, brother. That's why he got him an Asian.
But you see, the thing is, I'm looking at it now in hindsight. I'm glad that I didn't the whatever that is game. I didn't have that,
Right.
so I didn't feel like, all right. How do I trick him?
Look at Mo. Yo, that
was our.
You know what's funny? That was our outfit for the talent show that we did. So I had the same outfit.
But back to what I'm saying. I'm glad that I didn't put any effort into having game.
I don't like you, Rach.
to get those kind of girls.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I would have got my life messed up. Because that's what it is. It's like if you put that kind of effort into conquering that kind of girl, that's no conquest you want. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because looking back on that, I'm like, I feel like the ability in hindsight, look at it like, that ain't no prize.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That girl would have made my life a living hell.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it happened. And for me, it was like, I took pride and be like, I don't want you either. F you.
Same kind of thing, right? With like the football player jock guy in high school who's so high.
Yeah.
But then like at 17 peaks.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of his life, he's like
Yeah.
Pat McCleary. And you know what I'm saying? Like,
Al Bundy.
you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
17 was as high as you were
That's
ever going
it.
to go.
Yep.
You got it.
Al
Okay.
Bundy.
Yeah.
Always
That
living
happens.
it out. Living
Yeah.
out.
It's always told through the eyes of girls, though.
Yeah.
So, like, good guys never get, you never get, the story's never told on the guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
You know.
But let's keep going down this road. So then when the black girls were rejecting you, you said, I'm going to give this white thing a try.
No, it wasn't. I never was like the black guy, like, oh, these white. I never was like that. It was more or less like it happened in a co-working environment.
Right.
Really, what it was, it's when I started going to Camden County. I started going to school, and we were all there. We just didn't know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like, I just was who I am. I spent 14 years of my life in the Caribbean, and it was like literally 3 or 4 years out of that here.
Right.
And then I didn't understand hip hop. I didn't understand this culture. So I realized that the girls that I was meeting and I was attracted to weren't attracted to me. They thought I was cute, but I didn't have quote unquote swag or style. I wasn't dangerous, and I wasn't going to.
I wasn't dangerous.
That's what they wanted.
Right.
That's what they wanted. So I realized it wasn't worth it for me to invest in that. That's not who I am. It wasn't authentic to me. And my attitude has always been, and my cousin taught me this, was like, if they don't like you, move on. Who gives a, you know what I mean?
Right.
Don't care. Just keep it moving. But I couldn't verbalize it.
So the girls that were giving you attention were the white girls at work, like who would be around you.
Well, yeah, and for them, I think probably what it was, you know, they were not like the typical. We were working together. But they weren't into ghetto dudes either. Right. So then they would discover, like, oh wait, you're not what I thought you are.
Oh, you're not one of those black guys. You're Russell Wilson.
You're not dangerous. You know?
So then they said, okay, we can hang out.
But then I found out too that they were just experimenting too.
Right.
You know,
Right.
That's just what it was. You know.
Yeah, because then you started realizing the racial dynamic was a hard
Which I
thing,
didn't
too.
understand.
Yeah.
I didn't understand. It was all a shock for me.
Well, let's talk about
culturally.
it. So the first girl that you dated, Kristen,
He's naming names.
Mr. Name Drop today, boy.
Bye.
He's like,
she ain't
Kristen.
watching this. She ain't watching this. But you had the issue with her was she had to keep your relationship a secret for a while because her father wouldn't have been okay with it.
Oh, this reminds me of Mr. Stanley Golden during high school with an Indian.
Yeah.
Like we said, blacks and Indians.
No,
not
really?
a thing. Blacks and Indians are not allowed in this country. Yo,
what's her name?
Yo, because if you see her Instagram now, you would never know. And I bet you her husband don't know.
The thing she has on is a black turtleneck. Well, at first I thought, in my eyes, with her, it was like we actually formed a really good friendship.
Yeah.
And she wasn't attracted to me, and I wasn't attracted to her. But we discovered we had a lot in common. We had a lot in common, and we were working together a lot, and the relationship built there. And I would see her at Camden County, and we would talk. But I think through that, it started to grow a little bit. And then her friend was like, "Hey, why don't you two?" And we both looked at each other, and from there it grew. And then the relationship started, and I really liked her. She was a good girl. But then when she started telling me, well, my parents don't really...
Yeah.
It takes time. But in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm not...
Once they meet me,
yeah,
I'm Russell
not,
Wilson.
Yeah, I'm not a thug.
I'm not Future. I'm Russell Wilson.
I'm nice. I come from a 2-parent home. How could they not like me? I'm ready to go in and do the audition.
You didn't realize.
I didn't realize how deep it was.
Yeah, that don't matter.
It don't matter, you know.
Right.
So eventually, her uncle discovered it and went and told. Like her uncle caught her out.
Yeah, so she caught her. He caught her out with you, and then talk about her reaction when that happened.
Panic.
Yeah,
I didn't know what to. But I didn't know what was happening.
Right.
We were out together, and she was all over me.
Mm-hmm.
Being a girlfriend.
Right.
And then all of a sudden she's just like, took off.
Get away from me, nigga. This man tried to rape me.
So I was like, what's... So I'm like, but I don't know. And she runs away, you know?
Wow.
And I was just like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
So I'm calling her, and she...
I'm sorry, where were you? Like,
we were at the
in
movies.
A mall? At the movies.
Yeah.
You're at the movies, in a dark movie theater.
No. We were sitting outside waiting.
After the movie or before the movie?
Before.
And you're getting ready, and you're going to go in and see this movie.
Mhm.
And somebody she knows in her family
She
walks
sees
up,
him walking up.
He walks up, and she's gone.
She just
gone.
takes off.
Just
all he sees is like
Roadrunner, dust.
the movie ticket floating in the air. And then he sees the movie ticket like falling to the ground.
And then
There's
softly
a
on
plume.
the bench.
Right.
There's a plume next to him.
Right.
Yes, this is when there were tickets.
Yeah. And I didn't know. She didn't tell me.
Right.
I didn't know what was happening. She just ran away.
And there was no texting back then.
No.
That's
So I'm like,
So you called her after that, and
I called her, and maybe about like 40 minutes to an hour later,
That
she
was
emerges.
the first ghost. The first evidence of someone ghosting someone.
Right.
Wow.
And then she emerged. She was crying, and I was like, "What? What?" I was like, "What? What happened?" Like, I'm confused. And she was like, "Oh my God." She's like, "My uncle, she's like, I'm done. My life is done.
My life is
I was
done.
like, what the hell? Like,
all
what?
because I've been seen with dark skin.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking
that's
about?
deep, bro.
She didn't tell me that though.
Right.
She didn't tell me because of you.
Right.
She just kept on saying my life is done. I'm gonna get in so much trouble. She's like, you don't understand. I was like, well, what is it?
How old were you guys ish?
22 and 20.
Okay. She was 20?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, what? I took her home or whatever, but then she wouldn't let me drop her off.
Right.
So like maybe about 3 days went by. I mean, I talked to her, but then finally she was like, so my uncle told my dad. I was like, wait, what? So she's like, that was my uncle that I saw. I was like, where?
You didn't see any of it that happened with that.
A girl ran away from me. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
James was eating his popcorn.
Yeah.
And suddenly,
Like, that's right. Get up on this, James. You ran away. But anyway, then she finally told me what was happening, and I was like, oh, And I was, but the relationship continued. You know what I mean?
Right. It was just had to keep it more secret.
Keep it more
after
secret.
That.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And,
so it wasn't like she said, all right, I can't see you anymore at that point. But
no.
eventually it
slowed,
got there.
Yeah, it slowed down.
Right.
It slowed down. I think her mom tried to understand a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then her brother, her brother had told her, stay away from black dudes.
Right.
Because he used to play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And her brother told her that. But what eventually happened
He was like, didn't you hear about Kobe?
You'll see about this. It's bad news. What happened was I was into that acid jazz, Jamiroquai kind of funk scene.
Yeah.
And I used to go to a lot of these shows.
Mm-hmm.
So one day he saw me there. He saw me and show. He looked. We made eye contact or whatever. So he came over and he's like, "Hey man, what you doing here?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I love this band, whatever it is." So he came back. He started talking. He's like, "Is James adopted?" So she's like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, no, I saw him at some band with a bunch of white dudes playing." He's like,
he's awful white for how dark it is.
So she's like, "No." She's like, his parents, and I think he came around.
Kyle said James is describing my college experience in college in Virginia.
You had a bow tie too. So the brother started, because he started running into me more often.
Yeah.
So he kind of eased up a little bit, and then her attitude started to change a little bit. Like she was a little bit braver, And then she put a stop to. She basically told me like, look, my dad is really getting on me, because her dad was much older.
Mm-hmm.
Her dad was in his 70s. So I think what it was, she told me that my dad was embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not so much she has a problem with you.
Right.
It's he would actually like you.
But it's how other people see it, that
Other
his
people
daughter
see
is
him.
with a black guy.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's what
And
you
that's
see.
what it always is.
Yeah, right.
It's always about
how am I going to explain this to
this
my friends?
perception in the
Right,
air
right.
of people that aren't even there and don't matter.
Right. And then then the weirdest thing happened. We were out together, and she runs into her dad's friend, wife, and her dad's friend's wife, older woman, and they started talking. She's like, back in my day, I dated a couple of black men. They're excellent. I was just like, what the hell is this?
She talks about it like it's
a treat.
like it's a different type of vehicle.
Right, like
used to have a Honda back in the day.
Right,
Man. That
I was
thing
like,
drives like a.
She's like, you're a handsome young man. I was like,
back in my day, I would have took you for a spin.
Damn long. So it continued, and for a while I was like, okay. I was like, well, maybe, and I actually did meet him.
You're thinking maybe I can win them over. Maybe
Yeah.
Maybe I can handle this.
And I did go over, and I met them.
Was it awkward?
It was. I don't know. I was expecting him to come out and be like, "Look here, nigger."
Where was this? In Jersey?
In Jersey.
Where about in Voorhees?
No, it was like over in what area is that? It's like Barrington.
Barrington. Ooh.
Yeah.
Where's that? Where's that?
Gets a little sketchy around them
It's
parts.
a little sketchy.
What
Gets a little,
is that suburb like?
it's
Nice?
kind of
Is
like
it-
it's getting in the white trashy neighborhood there. A little bit, yeah, a little bit of 8 Mile going on.
It's like a really small town.
Yeah.
But they weren't like that. But I think he was worried about the neighbors. He had lived there all his life, his friends,
right?
You know, that kind of stuff. Like, you know, blue collar people, you
right?
know? And I met them. We talked. I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting maybe I thought aggression.
Yeah.
Because at first I was thinking in my mind, like, just let me talk to this man. I'm gonna settle this all down.
The day before, James was watching Rosewood, and like all the black movies. He was like, I'm gonna tell this motherfucker.
But yeah, he was actually cool. He was actually nice to me. You know what I mean? But I just think that's what it was. I don't think it's flat out racism.
Right.
I mean, definitely some prejudice, but I think it was more, don't embarrass me.
Right.
Like if my neighbors see you, my daughter with him, like how like you raised a terrible child. Like it'll be.
So then, how did it get to the point where she was like, "All right, we got it. I can't."
Well, she failed. She failed a couple classes,
Mm.
and that got blamed on the relationship.
Okay. So that was their excuse to say, all right, no more Negroes.
Yeah, you're distracted.
That's
You're-
it. You
yeah.
know, all the hip hop music is just
Would
taking
have
you out.
worked regardless of your skin color.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
But they use it
you
probably
got
as the
dude
catalyst.
in
Yeah.
the situation. That's
Yeah.
a distraction either
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, and she was, you know, I think that stressed her out, and
But then, I don't know if you want to go there, but do you want to talk about like what really got you over the situation?
no, help me.
Okay, you were telling me about what you learned about her after that, like when you saw her.
Oh yeah. All right.
Do you wanna go there?
So
Okay.
so really, what happened was this: she did fail the classes,
Mhm.
but what happened was she started another relationship.
Mhm.
She needed somebody to get over me.
Right.
She cared about me, but she needed. They had been telling her this for months, like end this. Stop seeing this dude. This is why you failed, etc., etc. But she met another guy who was in the academy. You know the academy in Camden.
Yeah.
And they became friends, and he became a cop.
Mm.
And she brought him around to kind of show them.
This is the kind of guy.
She brought him around to kind of show them, like, see, I'm trying. And then one day, I'm in the food court. I'm standing there, and I see her walk by. Now we're sort of on a break kind of thing, and she walks right past me with him hand in hand. And I stop and I look at her. I'm like, Kristen. And she just turned around. She's like, oh, hi. And he's standing there looking at her. I was like, I'm looking at her. I'm like, what are you doing? And she runs away again. And I was like, yo.
Damn, she's a
too good.
Huh?
runner.
So
She's
doesn't
a
handle
runner, is
stuff.
what
Yeah,
we've
she's a runner.
established from this.
And I was like, what is this? You know what I mean? But I realized that that's what she needed to get over the situation. She needed something to preoccupy her. And that was it. You know what I mean?
Right. But you were like, damn, how did she move on that fast? Like,
Yeah,
that was your-
I was
your
like
thinking like,
yeah. And
but
I
she
really
was
cared
all
about her.
in, yeah.
I really cared about her. She wasn't a bad girl per se. I think all of the circumstance, she couldn't handle the pressure. Like for me, if I like for me, it's like this. If I'm I'm obviously married now. I'm married to a black woman. But if I was to date interracially, I would need to know from somebody like, what's your reservation on this?
Right.
So tell me what I'm getting into.
Mhm.
Are you insecure? Are you worried about your auntie or your uncle down the street who lives in Connecticut? Like I need to know what I'm getting into, because if you have any reservations, don't be with me.
Right.
Because for me, it's like this. If my sister told me, I don't want you dating no white girl, and I've met a white woman or Asian woman who treat me right, I will give up my sister for that person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like love is love, but if you have reservation for this thing, don't even pursue it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you're always going to be.
Don't use me as an
no,
experiment
I don't.
in
I
your
don't.
life.
I don't want. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. But
Kyle made a statement about Barrington because he lives in Oakland. He said, "Ease up. I live next to Barrington."
everything offends him.
Listen,
Ease up.
Liz used to live in Barrington. Remember when she lived at that?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
trust me, I know.
Oh no! Listen,
I used to go to
listen,
her
I know
apartment.
because I got pulled over there. I got pulled over one night.
Where that Roadhouse.
Yep, I got pulled
bar
over
is.
with her.
Yeah,
With her.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
you know, and that's exactly what it is. He saw the car and he was like, whoop, whoop. But it was a new world for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was new, but I was never. I don't know. I feel like, you know, those relationships were formed off of. Most of those relationships were co-working situations.
You
know what I mean?
never went into it seeking out a certain race. Like you
No.
You know,
I never had I don't think I ever had a fetish and stuff like that because I questioned that. I questioned. I told you that, you know, like, why is it that all the black guys like light skinned girls with green eyes and curly hair? I was like, why? You know what I mean? Because I didn't grow up around that. You know what I mean? So I wanted to know why. You know what I mean? And I was asking those questions. You know what I mean? But I was trying to form relationships with people who I felt had things in common with me. You know, and we had a lot in common, but the pressure of her family pushed that. You know what I mean? I don't think she genuinely like, I'm gonna screw this guy. Because she did like me. We spent a lot of time together, you know what I mean? But I feel like the pressure was too much.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Especially at that time.
At that time. And she's young. She's 20 years old.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's a lot to ask of someone.
It's hard to take a stance at that age and say, you know what, my family is being crazy, so I'm just gonna, you know, stand my ground. It's easier to say, my whole life's gonna be over. You know what I mean?
Right. And your parents putting in your head that you failed because you like that. You know what I mean? You know?
No sauce.
No sauce.
No sauce for you.
Right. But it was never. I feel like it was never like, oh, white girls.
Yeah.
Let me get it. You know, it was never like that.
Well, like
which
you said, you bonded over things that you connected with each other on as people.
Yeah.
Like, that's how we're supposed to form
Right.
friendships
Yeah.
and bonds over the things that we find common ground in each other on.
It's just weird when you find that dynamic of, but there's a roadblock because of race. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like we were talking about in high school with Stan, with this girl, like they were together for years.
Yeah.
But her parents could never know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I remember like them, you know, hanging out with them and sneaking around and stuff like that. It's like
Jamie was chauffeur.
No. Mostly Pisa, right? Pisa used to. Oh no, Stan had a car. Stan had a car.
Right.
And I feel like those roadblocks I've always been like, like those roadblocks like arise in all of our like lives, right? Like they always arise at different like points. You're like, here's a roadblock. Like, even if it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like you might be talking to someone and you're like, okay, they say something and you're like, okay, there's a little bit of disconnect there. I feel like I've like always tried to like smash those roadblocks down. Like I'm always like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
And like you get both sides looking at you, like it might be one side and then it might be the other side. But like either way, both sides are gonna be like, well, why don't you adhere to the roadblocks? Like why don't you fall into your box? Like it's always about falling back into your box.
Yep.
And that's bullcrap.
Yeah.
Like,
These are the
that's
rules.
always
Obey.
been bullcrap to me.
Yeah. I was I don't know. I mean, it was weird to me because when the first time I went to like Philly and I went to like Palmer's or wherever that was with my friends, I was
Totally
like,
out of your element.
yeah, I was like, I don't like these girls. I was like, these are not women I'm interested in. And it's not that they're not attractive. Some of them were pretty,
right?
But it's the character, the vibe. It wasn't my thing.
Right. He wasn't turning up.
You mean you got to get you a pair of Timberland boots,
right? Oh, listen, I stood out like
that wasn't a word back then.
No.
Right. So I realized, and that's for me I think the best thing for me was I didn't try to assimilate. That's not who I am. I wasn't trying to fake it. So I just went with what I felt comfortable with.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I started kind of growing into, this is me. If you don't like me, That is what it is. The only time I tried to assimilate was when I met the Venezuelans.
Yes.
And I was like, give me them salsa shoes right there. That white pants. Give me that glitter shirt.
Yeah. Right. It's funny how you went through that journey of discovery.
Yeah.
You got the BMW.
Yep.
You're driving around in white pants.
Yeah. Atlantic City. Right?
Yo, straight up Venezuelan.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Yo,
yeah.
you could have been in
I
Miami,
embraced it. But
bro.
you know what it is? So I was a man without a culture.
Right.
I was a man without a culture. I wasn't from here.
Mhm.
I didn't relate to
And let's face it, there's not a Trinidadian like place for you to
No,
go.
no.
Like the Venezuelans all found each other.
Right. We're
And
close
they-
to each other. It's very similar.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
very
yeah.
similar. So Trinidad and Venezuela is 7 miles away from each other.
Right.
It's very similar. And Latinos love to party.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And the women don't look bad either.
Right.
So
But you also discovered the racial dynamic
Oh,
there too,
yes.
which people don't like to talk about a lot.
No.
You know, because it's not just a white black thing. We
No,
talked
no.
about black and Indian.
No,
But
no.
even with the Hispanics,
Yeah.
you know.
that element is there, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And I discovered also too, I mean, I'm not trying to be stereotypical, but what I've discovered is a lot of those girls just wanted to use you. You're a tool.
Right.
You're a tool. They just want to use you.
Mhm.
And I realized that's a cultural thing too.
Mhm.
What can you give me?
Mhm.
You know, can you take me to get my nails done? Can
Right.
you go give me a ride over here? I need to
Right.
get there. Because most of them were here working as nannies and they needed someone. So if they need to stroke your ego, they're more willing to stroke your ego to get what they need to
Right,
get done.
right.
You know what I mean? There's no reward, or they'll make you think that there's a reward. You know what I mean?
They keep that carrot dangling in front of you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And if you're stupid, you'll fall for it.
Right.
But for me, it was like I was so involved with the group that even though I know that, it was like, oh, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll go. I have a good time. Whatever. You know what I mean? So it was me to. That was my downfall, was trying to assimilate in something I didn't understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because you wanted to party anyway.
I wanted to. You know what? Really, what it was? It was my mom's death.
Yeah.
My mom died, and I was like, you know what, man, life sucks. My mom died at 50.
Right.
I was like, she never enjoyed anything. I was like,
Mhm.
man, I'm gonna
go live it up.
I'm gonna go live it up, man. I'm gonna buy this car and I'm gonna have fun. And I
That
moved
got
down
old quick.
Sure did, man. $40 to go see some girl from the hills. We got down there. I was like, what the hell? You know. So it definitely dynamic.
From the hills.
Yeah, we went to
Yeah,
a
he's
club.
saying he went to a club and they were charging $40 to get in because what's her name? Lauren,
whatever. I don't know.
Lauren something, huh? Yes,
Yeah.
Lauren Conrad
Yeah.
was in the
That's what
building.
they told us.
Lauren
Conrad's here. I was like, who's that?
like $40 to get in, my
Right.
brother, so you can watch her. Text
And that's
all
when you
night.
look at all the men, all your boys looking at you like, man, $10, you got $5. You make you spot me. You know?
Yeah.
But that definitely taught me a lesson, you know.
Yep. And you also see it. I remember, like, you know, not to say no names because I've been dropping everybody's names, but there's, you know, in the Puerto Rican community too, like there's people that don't like it when their daughters or their sons are dating black. You know.
Well, you know,
that happens in all culture.
Yeah. Asians are
we talk about
definitely
that.
the same.
I talk about how racist Asians are.
Only with black males, though. Only with black males, because a white male.
Well, no, black girls too.
Black girl. Well, well, in general, but mostly it's more hate towards the black male. Black woman too,
Right.
but if it's a white male, an Indian woman or an Asian woman, that's a come up.
Right.
That's a come
It's
up.
a little more.
Right.
They accept that more.
Right.
But does the white male's family accept the Asian or white or Indian or?
I don't know. That's a
They
weird.
have to now.
Now
because
they do.
everything is
Now they do.
politically correct.
Right.
But there's always been white male, Asian female.
But there has to be a level of disappointment going on, right?
I'm sure.
The mother has to be thinking like, why would you?
Right.
Why would you just ruin things?
Right.
And bring that brown into our house?
Now you see the commercials though. Now I'm seeing more.
They're pushing it.
Now I'm seeing more black girls and white guys.
Black girls and
commercial.
white guys is definitely being pushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because even in the
don't want to keep going, man. I'm tired. I've been up since 4 o'clock.
Jake is over here falling asleep. Wait, how long are we? Oh man, this is a long one.
Yeah, Jamie's like, Ian, how about I'm like, this nigga?
Yo, you know what that just,
I'm
that,
like trying to hold on.
You know what's funny is what? Go ahead.
I was saying that reminded me of Mr. Ez. How he used to fall asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what's funny though is when we had Evie and her husband on here and they was talking about the Bible and stuff. Jake could have went all night. He wasn't tired at all. And that was like a 3-hour podcast.
All right. We just hit 3:30.
Yeah, and I was sitting there trying to find a way to end it that night. Like I'm like, all right, how do we go end this? But they just kept going back and forth
with a pillow. I said
they kept going back and forth. All right.
That was mostly Evie, though.
Oh, man.
I'm going to end it there, though. All right, guys. Kyle, we appreciate it. Kyle said, is it past Jake's bedtime?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yep.
It is.
Yeah, so we're going to leave it there, guys. Appreciate you guys for watching. Kyle, we appreciate you for engaging with this time. We're going to get you on here one day.
Get you on, bro.
Make sure you guys share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Go to patreon.com/youngliontv. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook, Jatan and Young Lion TV. And also go to jatan.com to get merch and music. We got some new music coming out soon. Higher Love is coming out. Just got finished. And we're doing a re-release of By the River so it can be up on Spotify and all of the other music streaming services. We're going to the Bahamas this weekend. And we're going to Florida, and we'll be back next week with, we got a guest coming on next week who is a chef. So we'll see you guys next week.
Young lion, go live, yeah. Young lion, you rich, yeah. This kingdom has room, yeah. Go and fight people in.